TDOT says there's a crash 24 westbound at Bell Road. Police working on 65 southbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Then at Talbot's Corner, a crash off-ramp partially blocked 65 southbound to Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, what's happening, friends and neighbors? Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show with Matt Murphy on the mic, believe it or not. Monday, October 6, 2025. Pleased to be here. Thank you for being around wherever you might be. We appreciate your time and consideration. We've got about 4 hours to commit to what we hope to be talk radio excellence on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am back from a couple of days, or 3 days to be precise, of off time during the latter portion of last week. I'll tell you a little about that as it relates to parts of the country that I'd never been to before. Some interesting fun facts about these United States of America. We'll talk about that a little bit later on today. And we'll, generally speaking, relate to you how things went as I watched my nephew graduate from basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which Fort Lost in the Woods is what a lot of the regulars call it, and he's off to Fort Sill, Oklahoma now to spend at least the next 19 or so weeks at AIT. And I appreciate all of your kind words. I related them to young Alex, every single one of them. And he appreciates them as well. He's going to be a fine young soldier. He is a fine young soldier and a fine young man. So it is Monday, October 6, 2025. That means that we are into week number 2 of the government shutdown, and we're going to talk a little about that today as well. It is day 263 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. That's out of 1,460.5. So we're not even close to halfway there, guys. We got a long way to go in this thing. It's also day 896 of our gatherings together on radio on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And that's only me, right? So I don't count when I'm out. That's just our visits together. 896, approaching 900. We'll hit 900 Friday. Is that right? Friday? Hey, look who's back. It's Jackson. I missed you. Where you been?
Hey, buddy. I've been here.
Have you now? Oh, how you been holding down the fort?
I have been holding down lots of forts.
How's the fort?
It's falling apart.
That's the laugh of Ken Weaver.
How about you boys? Yes.
Ken, I missed you.
I missed you too, Brother Murphy.
Well, thank you.
We missed you, bud.
Well, Jackson, I missed Ken. I missed you too. I thought of you. I bought you a shirt.
You did bring me a shirt.
Where's your shirt? Show everybody on Talk TV your shirt.
The shirt is in the producer's room.
Okay, well, we're gonna show everyone the shirt at some point.
You got a shirt. Brother Jackson's haircut.
I know his hair does. I mentioned that first thing I saw him. I said, "You got your haircut. Looks good." I think
I got them all cut actually.
All of your hairs?
Yes.
Every single one of them?
Yes. I left a small squirrel on the ground.
Even the lower ones?
I would put it this way, Matt. They had to sweep 3 times while I was in the chair.
Yeah, I mean, it was long.
It was very long.
You were getting long. You were almost man bun ready.
That would be something.
We have we have gone from one of the longer haired shows on this radio station to one of the shorter haired shows.
We still got Ken Weaver's beard, though.
We do have Ken's beard. Thank goodness. We'll always have Ken's beard.
Yeah, but if you boys shave your heads like I do.
I got a lumpy head, Ken.
Yeah, me too.
Lumpy head.
So do I. I just put my headphones on.
Oh, no, you've got a nice head, Ken. Your head looks good. See, I have this theory that this is proof that God is a just God. He's a loving God because typically if he makes you go bald, he gives you a nice round head. You see, I've not been cursed with baldness because I was cursed with the lumpy head. If I generally look down at the floor, you can put a Coke can right there on the head, right there. And it'll sit right on top.
Just kind of sinks in.
It's just boop, and just sits because it's flat. Because Mama left me in the crib too long.
You were probably being annoying.
That's what my grandma always said. I said, Mom, why's my head flat? Because your mama left you in the crib too long. And I don't think that's right, but that's what she said. So I'm going to go with that.
That's what she said?
That's what she said. So I've been everywhere, man. I feel like the Johnny Cash song.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Lawbreakers.
I was at Fort Leonard Wood. I was in St. Robert, Missouri. I went to St. Louis. Before I got to St. Louis, I went to Uranus. Cape Girardeau, which I think I'm mispronouncing, but I don't really care. Yeah, I just slid right by Uranus. I slid right by Uranus.
It was the cough after Uranus, which the Uranus.
I saw the world's largest belt buckle in Uranus. Let me tell you, I spent maybe an hour and a half in Uranus, and the jokes did not get old. So I don't know what to tell y'all. If you're already tired of them, this might not be your day because they didn't get old with me when I was in Uranus, and they're not going to get old with me on the radio.
Is there a hotel in Uranus?
Not to my knowledge, Ken. I did not see a hotel in Uranus.
It's a cozy B&B kind of town.
There was a liquor store in Uranus. There was a lot of fudge in Uranus. So they have a fudge factory coming straight out of Uranus.
That's what I hear.
And they are proud of it, man. We didn't buy any because they're very proud of their fudge in Uranus.
Fudge is a big deal in Missouri.
I guess so.
I mean, there's signs all up and down the interstates there. Fresh fudge.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a town by the name of Uranus.
See, I don't think it's technically a town, but they certainly leaned into it. It is a stop on Old Route 66. So a little history lesson.
Would you say it's on the butt end of Missouri?
Yes, I think it is the ass end of Missouri, Uranus. But there's a general store. There's an old timey jail. There's an ice cream shop. There's a museum of the strange and mysterious, Ken. Oh, the
strange and mysterious things in Uranus.
Yes, that you can explore the strange and mysterious things in Uranus.
These jokes won't get old.
Pause for effect. No, it's one of those where you go in and they've got half of it was like deformed animals that had been born and now they're in formaldehyde with like the two heads and whatever.
Stuffed?
Well, no, they weren't stuffed. These were like in the jars. But then they had the stuffed ones too that are obviously fake. It's like the monkey that's a fish. It's like the mer monkey. You call it a mer monkey.
What happened to make that?
Well, you know how babies are made. Well, Mama Fish and Daddy Monkey got together.
Oh, no.
And they fell in love, Jackson.
Oh, no.
And it was forbidden love, but much like Romeo and Juliet.
The elders should have outlawed
Well,
this.
they were very against it, but they ran off together or swam off together, as the case may be. There were that. There was the I got my picture taken as there was a wanted poster. And you can stick your head in there.
You're wanted in Uranus?
I'm wanted in Uranus. You know what my name was on the wanted poster? Phil McCracken. But my favorite part is all over this place, this tourist trap. There are signs. I want to get them right because there are signs all over. Like, for example, and if you're watching on TV, I'll just hold my phone up. I should have prepared better and put these up on the screen. Warning, do not take photos or video of this sign. Violators will be violated in Uranus. By order of the mayor of Uranus. There was a newspaper called the Uranus Examiner. And their slogan is, probing Uranus deeper than ever before.
Goodness.
And then my favorite sign was this one. Hold on, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. It says, can you read that? It says, notice, thank you for noticing this new notice. Your noticing it has been noted and reported to authorities.
In Uranus.
Anyway, there was much more. There was St. Louis, there was Cape Girardeau, and there was Paducah, and Metropolis. I saw the largest. We saw the largest Elvis statue. Elvis, strike that. We saw the largest Superman statue in the world in Metropolis, Illinois, which makes sense because Metropolis is where Superman lives. I guess, was he from Smallville?
I haven't seen that show.
Does anyone know? I thought he was from Metropolis, but then he's from Smallville as well. Anyway,
I think he was from a farm.
Right, that's Smallville, and he moved to Metropolis.
Yes.
That's where the Daily Planet
is right outside Uranus.
Yes, that's correct. Ken just does the news. So the bottom line is this: it's a big country out there. Y'all go see it. Now, we did not get to see everything. I want to just clean this up, clean this Uranus talk up, and we'll move on from it.
Clean Uranus.
We did not get to see everything that we wanted to see, and I'm saddened by that. But we had a lot of different things going on for the trip. Fort Leonard Wood, St. Robert, St. Louis, Cape Girardeau. I think I'm mispronouncing that. Paducah, Metropolis, etc. A lot of great history in that part of the country because the Mississippi River was obviously back in the day a big deal, and at least Paducah and the Cape are along the St. Louis too is along the river, and so these cities grew up as a result of river traffic, and so we're going along. We want to see a lot of this different type of stuff, but sadly, I'm here to report that I was impacted. We were impacted by the government shutdown, and so what I'm going to do, I made a list. The government shutdown. I have poo-pooed the government shutdown. The government shutdown will impact no one. No one's going to feel the harsh realities of the government shutdown during the government shutdown because nobody cares that the government shut down. Well, sadly, I was disabused of this notion as I repeatedly had to deal with this. So hold on, wait for it. I'll call for it. I want to hit it hard. So I have prepared a lengthy list of the amount of things that we were not able to do on the trip. The family vacay. The lengthy list of items. All right, now hit it. Is the lengthy list of things because of the United States federal government shutting down that we were not allowed to do on the trip. You ready? Here we go. We couldn't go in the Arch.
Huh?
We couldn't go in the Arch. The St. Louis Arch. Could not go in it.
What?
That's it. Couldn't go in the Arch.
Is that all you got?
Hold on. Let me check the list. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We could go on the riverboat. We could do anything and everything else. The courthouse, the famous Dred Scott Courthouse in St. Louis, was closed anyway for repairs, although I am told that would have been closed had it been open, if you know what I'm saying. But, yeah, that was it. That was the list. The Arch. Have you been in the Arch?
I have been in the Arch.
Ken, have you ever seen that Arch?
I've seen it, but I've never been in it. Never been in St. Louis.
Did you, so you've not seen the Arch in person?
No, sir.
I would encourage it.
All right.
Let me tell you. Y'all, I mean, I don't say this lightly. Impressive.
It's something.
It's impressive. It's very, very tall and very, very wide and very, very shiny. Done in stainless steel. And some of the history of it, how they did it, why they did it, the whole bit, very fascinating. Absolutely love the whole bit. And 630, I think I have this right, 630 feet wide, 630 feet tall. And I was supposed to go to the very tippy top of it, as Jackson has done. And I was told because of the federal government Democrat-based shutdown, I was not allowed to do so. And so if I have another reason to hate Chuck Schumer, another reason to hate Hakeem Jeffries, I have a laundry list of reasons to hate these people. There's another reason.
You want to know the silver lining?
What's that?
More time to explore Uranus.
Oh, we were there. We were in that thing for hour and a half, 2 hours. You got a T-shirt.
I do have a Uranus T-shirt.
You have a T-shirt straight from Uranus.
Gonna have to put it in the wash first.
Y'all, it never got old.
It's
never.
still not old.
And I'm telling you, it just didn't. I brought Ken a beer koozie. Jackson, why don't you ask Ken what his beer koozie says?
Ken, what does your beer koozie say? And could you hold it up for the camera for me?
Straight out of Uranus.
Straight out of Uranus.
And the magnet.
The magnet. Come on out there.
Says,
we're having big fun in Uranus.
and we were, Ken. We were. It's true. World's largest belt buckle in Uranus. It was huge. And this is actually documented by the Guinness Book of World Records. The world's largest belt buckle was created and is on display.
Sounds like a medical issue.
In Uranus. It's like 10, 11 feet wide, 8 feet tall, something like that. It's insane.
And it's all in Uranus.
Yeah. And then we took a side trip to eat. So this, real quick, I promise you, we're going to get to subject matter that is vital and important to your lives, like the 7th Congressional District. But just bear with me for a moment.
Humor us, please.
Yeah, humor me for just a second. So we're leaving St. Louis. Ian and I are leaving St. Louis. And I did not want to take interstates because we're going to Metropolis, Illinois. So Illinois is right across the river, right? And I wanted to go see the why do I keep saying Elvis? The Superman statue. I wanted to go see the Superman statue, which is in Metropolis, and then we were going to go down to Cape Girardeau, Paducah, and all that. So we leave St. Louis, and I tell the little Garmin or whatever to not take us on interstates. And we go across the river, and we're driving, and we take a right, and we take a left, and we take a right. And I'm like, what is happening? I feel like something has happened here, like a tornado has gone through, because the buildings are all boarded up, and some of the roofs are caved in, and multiple automobiles have been burned, and the husks of these automobiles are on the side of the road. And I'm seeing gatherings of people that are looking at us like they don't, see many folks coming through their neighborhoods very often. And I'm like, my Lord in heaven, this is awful. If I didn't know any better, I would think that we were in some place like East St. Louis. And we were in East St. Louis.
You were.
And I asked Siri on my phone, I said, Siri, is East St. Louis a dangerous place? And Siri said, yes, East St. Louis is considered very dangerous by most individuals, as the violent crime rate is one of the highest violent crime rates in the United States of America. And as Siri's telling me this, we get to a stop sign, and there's some fellas on a front porch stoop, about 5 or 6 of them, and it's relatively early in the morning. Yeah, I guess this was afternoon, because we were heading to the Cape. They wanted to come and they must have been like the welcome committee.
Yeah, that's what they were.
Because they got up from their porch as we were at a stop sign, and they started walking toward us.
Oh, well, that's friendly.
It was nice. I felt like Clark W. Griswold in the original National Lampoon's Vacation, where they were going through the country in the family truckster, and they got sidetracked in East St. Louis, and somebody wrote honky on the side of their car. Yeah. So that was fun. So we got the hell out of there as swiftly as possible. My goodness, which is what everyone who's ever been to East St. Louis says.
Friendly folks over there.
No, they seem to be nice people. All right, quick timeout. So it's a big country. The bottom line is this. It's a big country out there. Go and see it. Go enjoy it. We'll talk about the shutdown. We're in our second week. We will discuss the huge endorsement for Matt Van Epps in the 7th Congressional District. We will talk with Matt Van Epps himself in about 20 minutes on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, folks. It's Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Let me talk to you, gentlemen, for a moment in a serious fashion, because, guys, these things can come upon you slowly, and by these things I mean an inability to perform. That's the only way that I can talk to you about it, because it can impact your relationship. It can impact your mental health. It can even impact your sense of identity. But there's good news. There's real help with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Since 2014, they've been helping thousands of men get back to feeling like themselves. First in Midtown, before it was even called Midtown, then in Cool Springs, and now a location opened in Clarksville. No matter where you are in Middle Tennessee, expert care is close by. These are not cookie-cutter treatments. Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's health and more particularly in men's sexual health. Guys, let's get back in the ball game. You don't have to live this way. Personalized treatment specifically for you, and your initial appointment is just $99. It includes a full medical consultation, blood work, and if medically advised, a tested dose right there in the office. 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Efficient Heating and Cooling is your one-stop shop for all things heating in the fall and into the winter months. Let's talk about this for a moment, because I understand that maybe you've not begun to turn on the heater, but when that happens, you're going to want to call, or even in advance of this, call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling and allow him to come out and maintenance that unit. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, not a ton of money. As a matter of fact, $125 or less, $125 being obviously the max, that they're going to charge you for anything that they do to maintenance that heating unit or the AC, but for this time of year, we're talking about the heater. So why is it important to do that? Well, like most important and electronic things in your life, like your automobile or your body for that matter, you need to get maintenance done from time to time. You get your teeth cleaned, you get your oil changed, you need to get maintenance done on the heater. It's going to extend the life of that heater and make sure that everything's running properly so you don't go down in the winter months. That's what it's all about. Plus, ask Jeff Eddy and his team about the maintenance guarantee when you make the call that so many others have made to Efficient Heating and Cooling. If your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy and Efficient. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and another traffic update here in 5 minutes. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling with a message to ICE protesters in his city after a woman was shot for allegedly trying to run over ICE agents.
Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt repeats the warning about layoffs under the government shutdown.
We hope that the vote will not fail, because This administration wants to reopen the government. We don't want to see people laid off. But unfortunately, if this shutdown continues, layoffs are going to be an unfortunate consequence of that.
Yeah, lawmakers in the Senate expected to vote today on the same bills they've already rejected. And a federal judge has granted Kilmar Abrego Garcia a hearing to determine whether the human smuggling charges against him in Tennessee are illegally vindictive. The Salvadoran national deported earlier this year despite a court ruling protecting him from removal. After the U.S. Supreme Court ordered his return, federal prosecutors brought this smuggling case just days later. Now a judge says there's enough evidence to question whether those charges were filed in retaliation for his legal victory. The court has ordered discovery and an evidentiary hearing. A status conference is set for October 10th. Abrego Garcia remains in custody, and he has pleaded not guilty. And the U.S. Supreme Court starts its session today. The new term could be a test to see if the justices decide to limit President Trump's presidential power. As cases about tariffs and the firing of federal employees are on the docket, here's Devin Dwyer.
The court will decide whether Trump can fire members of independent federal agencies for any reason, despite 90 years of precedent saying he can't, and whether that authority extends to the Federal Reserve after Trump took unprecedented steps to remove Fed Governor Lisa Cook.
That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Rural Hill got a crash reported by TDOT 24 westbound at Bell Road. In Hermitage, TDOT says there's an injury crash, partially blocking the off-ramp 40 eastbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. Then Metro Center, police say there's a crash 65 southbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard, Talbot's Corner. A crash partially blocking the off-ramp 65 southbound to Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Cover Nash. You know, people talk about open enrollment all the time. They don't talk about open enrollment very much at Cover Nash because any day of the year is actually open enrollment because you can make switches. You can do certain things for your medical and your insurance plans. And you know, your man at Cover Nash has always been Shane Ring. He is the go-to guy. He is your personal concierge when it comes to these types of things. And you need to talk with him about whatever decision-making you're planning with regard to your health insurance. They've got coverage for you that works. Let me tell you, folks, if you're tired of health insurance that feels like a math test, and I know I feel like I'm a fairly smart guy and I can't keep up with all of these things, that's where Shane Ring comes in. Cover Nash comes in. They have a nationwide PPO plan that allows you to choose your doctor anywhere in the United States of America, only a $250 deductible, and flat copays after the deductible. It's possible, friends, with Cover Nash. Make the call that so many others have made. If any questions are on your mind about your health insurance, now's the time to make that call. CoverNash.com online, CoverNash.com, or 615-465-0023, 465-0023. Friends, Cover Nash can help. Call Shane Ring today. You know, for many men, it's happening. Your hair thinning, your crown disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling you're losing your identity altogether. Well, I've got good news, friends. An incredible, simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day. That's right. And it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've seen the pills and the lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They might help you retain some of the hair that you have, but they simply cannot regrow the hair that you've lost. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class doctors, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It is guaranteed that your hair will regrow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and I recommend them to everyone. For your free consultation, I invite you to call Advanced Hair, and you can get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Call 629-348-HAIR, 629-348-HAIR, or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Van Epps coming up in about 5 or so minutes. Originally scheduled for just after 4. They had to move it a little bit. Apparently, Van Epps has a big teleconference tonight with the latest individual to endorse him in the 7th Congressional District race. And I wonder if that moves the needle for anyone. It would be Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States of America. His name has been on the lips of just about every congressional candidate in the 7th Congressional District, Republican side, obviously. Jody Barrett and Lee Reeves before he dropped out, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. Or, Stuart Parks, Stuart Parks was saying, I'm the only one that's gone to jail for Donald Trump. Matt Van Epps got the endorsement that obviously each of the candidates would have wanted. And we will speak with Matt Van Epps about that endorsement coming up in just a moment. We will also speak with Stuart Parks a little bit later on in the show, in the 4 o'clock hour. His camp is accusing, and we'll ask Van Epps about this, his camp accusing Van Epps of trying to confuse the issue by suggesting that they have dropped out of the race, which they have not done. So all of that is to come. I could read the laundry list of super texts that I've gotten about the first segment of the show, primarily about my visit to Uranus, but I will not, because I would be here all the day. But many of your double entendre, they're very funny, and you're a very funny audience, and I thank you for that. 615-737-9986. Hey, first up this week is Jim. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Matt?
I'm great, Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I just wanted to tie into your I don't want you to get back on track with Uranus, but I do astrophotography as a hobby, and I've got an app on my phone, and I use that opportunity every chance I can get. It also tells me when the planets are coming up every day, whether we're together at the house or we're out with company, or I have to call her to tell her. Every time my phone alerts me, I call her up, say, hey, babe, my phone tells me I'm going to see Uranus in 10 minutes.
And you can't help yourself.
Oh, you can't.
I'm convinced that for men, women mature, and I don't know that they ever have the type of humor. I don't think that they ever have the type of humor that men do. But whatever sense of humor men have at the age of 13 or 14, we keep it through the rest of our lives. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. On another note, we just came back into town from the bowels of the East Coast, and I tell you what, our turning point is making waves. I grew up out there in the East, and when I moved here to Tennessee in 2000, I've loved it here ever since. Did 8 years with the Air Force, and after I got out, I moved here, and life is so much better, so much different out here than it is in those Democratic-run states. And our visit this past week, we went out there, and the tide is changing, brother. Just so many people on the train now, and it's just incredible. It's really happy to see.
No, it is. It is very good. And, I feel like, Well, I could go for 3 hours on what you just said, because what you just said, and thank you, Jim, for the call, is very important. The Democrats are not at the level of freak out that they are necessarily because of Donald Trump. And what I mean by that is Donald Trump tapped into it. Donald Trump created a dynamic in America by which the radical leftists were exposed, and the mainstream media was exposed for protecting them. The American people have woken up to where the Democrat Party stands. And some of these are meat and potato issues that have existed for a long, long time. Issues like taxation, abortion, certain other social issues. The Democrats have decided that the answer to their defeat in 2016, the answer to their defeat in 2024, and I think many of us recognize what happened, if not most of us recognize what happened in 2020, and obviously were it not for the Chinese created and released, either intentionally or unintentionally, COVID-19 virus, Donald Trump would have won re-election in 2020. But they did, and he didn't, based on the abilities that the Democrats had to rig the system. I do not believe that rigging the system is stealing an election. I think there's two different things. Rigging the system is creating a dynamic by which you can push votes that would not otherwise exist. You can call that stealing. I don't want to get into the semantics of it, but the bottom line is 2020 would have gone Trump's way had it not been for COVID-19. The Democrats, had they any sense about themselves, had they any sense of self-awareness, they would have already recognized this, and they would have done internal soul searching as to how to recalibrate and get back to their base of support. But instead, they doubled down on crazy. They answered to a minuscule portion of their population, not the American population, their population to begin with. And now they have decided, after many in the middle have turned against them and decided, many people are like, Trump might be bombastic. Even those that don't care for Trump have gone the way of the Republican Party because the Republican Party represents the fabric of America now. And the Democrats have gone Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes. So I could not agree with you more in your assessment of how the Democrats have doubled down on crazy. And we see that in a lot of different ways. We see that with the government shutdown. And the mainstream media considers it a point of pride, it seems, to attempt to cover for them. The shutdown is a great example of this. The Republicans are asking for a basic extension to give time to finish up some of these appropriation measures. The Democrats want all of these concessions to include rolling back funding of PBS. They're not going to do that. To include rolling back health insurance to COVID-19 standards, which we all know were exploited by people that did not need insurance in the United States of America. And the leftists in the mainstream media tried to cover for the Democrats. Republicans rightly noted, hey, you're trying to give health insurance to illegal aliens. And the hashtag never CNNs of the world and the ABC, CBS, NBCs of the world, no, they're not. Yes, they are, and you know very well they're doing it. More on all of this coming up in just a moment. Right now, 7th Congressional District candidate Matt Van Epps joins us on the Murphy Show hotline to talk about not only his candidacy, but obviously recent developments to include endorsements by not only Governor Bill Lee, but now by President Donald J. Trump. It's a pleasure to have Matt back on the show. Matt, good afternoon. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, Matt. Thank you so much for having me. Honored to be on, and hope your nephew's graduation from basic training went well.
It was an incredible experience. It was eye-opening. I think I'm proud of Pete Hegseth, and I am so proud of our United States military. I think we have a ways to go to correct some of the, I tell you what, one of these days, Matt, you and I need to sit down and I'll tell you some of the things that I experienced. And some of it was so wonderful and good and everything that America ought to be. Some of it was a little frightening in terms of some of the people that we graduate. But I think we're getting that ship turned around. But thank you for bringing that up. And congratulations.
Sure,
hey, and congratulations on the endorsement. That's got to be pretty big for the campaign.
Thank you so much. We're just honored and so excited about the president's endorsement. If I can tell you the story, so Friday afternoon, I was on a call, and we had our whole team together for a meeting. I was out in the hallway, and two of my teammates came out into the hall and said, "Hey, Matt, you need to hang that up, and somebody's trying to get a hold of you." And so I looked at the phone, and I had 3 missed calls, and so I ended that call, and I called the number back, and the person said, "Hey, Matt, if you can just wait for a minute here, somebody wants to talk to you." And the next person that got on said, "Hi, this is Donald Trump. Matt, nice to speak with you." And so, the heart rate was up a little bit at that point because it wasn't expected. So I had to tell myself that I've been in difficult situations before, and this was going to work out okay. And I talked to the president for 4 or 5 minutes. Was just a great call. What a great leader. What a great, just so good for our country. And he asked a lot of questions about the race. And at the end, he said, "Well, Matt, you've got my full and total endorsement. I'm going to send you the Truth Social post that we're just about to post for your endorsement." And so I got that today. I just appreciate it so much. He signed a hard copy and sent it to me, and we were just about to post that on socials here. But it was kind of a surreal moment, and I was just honored and excited to talk to the president and to have his endorsement.
What is your primary focus in the literally hours now before the polls close? I mean, I know that they quote unquote officially open tomorrow, and before you know it, we'll be counting votes. I mean, what's the final discussion points in terms of priorities that you will take to Washington, D.C., that you believe separate you, Matt Van Epps, from the other candidates?
Yes. Well, there's a couple of tactical things. One is that we have been really trying to push the tele-rally that's going to happen tonight with President Trump and me. And so that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Central. And everyone is welcome to call into that. The number for that is 855-927-0894. And that's going to be a tele-rally that the president will kick it off, and I'll say a couple of words. And so we've been trying to get the word out about that, and we're really excited about it. And then tomorrow we're pushing hard for the get out and vote. I'd ask all of your listeners, please get out and vote tomorrow. We need it. We need this to keep our party in a great position, and would humbly ask for their support and their vote. But as far as the differentiation goes, it's the background. It's our background in special operations, small business, state government, and still serving in the National Guard as an America First conservative who has been a leader, who has led teams, and I think that's resonating. That this has not been about me. It's about our team, and being endorsed by the president and the governor, and we're over 40 local officials now. I'll tell you, Matt, I was very thankful that after the president endorsed that Lee Reeves and Stuart Cooper both suspended their campaigns and endorsed us. After they did that, I called them just to thank them on Friday. It showed real leadership, and I appreciate them doing that, and very, very humbled by that. But that's the message we're trying to take forward. I'm going to be at a couple of polling locations tomorrow, and just trying to engage with as many voters as possible.
As far as the current shutdown goes, are you supportive of, I imagine you're supportive of the Republicans holding the line. How long do you think this could go? I want to speak to you as if you were a part of the Republican Party in Congress right now. How long can this go? And obviously, you've been a part of the United States military. I think the military and its apparatus are probably more impacted, although most of those are considered essential employees. You just speak to that and how the Republicans seem to be holding up and holding the line right now.
Yes, well, you're right. I do stand with the Republicans on this to hold the line. I think in the Schumer shutdown, Democrats have to back away from their unreasonable requests, and they've got to get this done. The president was he was celebrating the Navy's 250th birthday. I think that was yesterday, and he talked about all the military are going to get paid, and he talked about a pay raise increase for them, which is needed and is the right thing, and he knows that every vote in the House counts, and I'll stand with the president and the Republican Party in this.
So one of the candidates, real quick, and I know you're very time limited, busy day today, and obviously you've got the teleconference with the President of the United States later on at 5:30, as you mentioned, Central. But one of the candidates in this contest, Stuart Parks, accused you of claiming that he had left the race. I know Stuart Cooper left the race. Was there some confusion there, or is Stuart Parks incorrect that anybody he claims that people on your team were saying that he had left the race? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's not from us. We weren't saying that. That's not from our team. Our best understanding of this is that there's some misinformation, maybe some telephone game. We're not entirely sure, but we were endorsed by Stuart Cooper, and honored to have that endorsement. So that's certainly not coming from our campaign. We would not do that, and I would not stand for that.
What's the final message, Matt, as folks go to the polls? You've kind of made the last minute pitch, but what's the final message to voters who might even find themselves at this late hour undecided?
Yeah, thank you. Well, we know that President Trump wants an effective leader. I'm an America First conservative who have led teams, and is going to fight really hard for our district, our state, and our country, and would humbly ask for your support and vote tomorrow. For more information, our website's mattfortn.com. That's Matt, FORTN.com. And the polls are open tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And just encourage everyone to get out and vote.
Matt Van Epps, thank you so much. Come by and see
Thanks,
us. You come see us very soon. We appreciate you. There's Matt Van Epps, obviously, canvassing and continuing to ask for votes. The expectation is we're going to have Stuart Parks on at 4:30 to talk about this issue that I just brought up. Stuart Parks was saying that the Van Epps people were lying. Matt Van Epps says that didn't come from us. Maybe there was some confusion going on. We were talking about Stuart Cooper. Secondarily, we will have, I believe Jody Barrett will be on either today or tomorrow, who is another front runner in the race. And we'll get Gino Balso for a last pitch, too. I mean, look, once again, I don't have a candidate in the race necessarily. I don't know how I would vote. Honestly, I had someone ask me earlier today because they said, who are you endorsing? I don't endorse candidates, but I don't believe in it. I believe that the people should do their own homework, and I think endorsements kind of take us away from that, and I think it's a self-aggrandizing exercise. People in our business love to proclaim from their ivory towers who they would vote for. I mean, and that's just nonsense. But if people ask me directly who I would vote for, I tell them, and that's what I said to the person. I said, I don't endorse, but, I generally tell people how I would vote were I voting in that election. And they said, well, how would you vote? And I'm torn. I'm torn, honestly. I mean, I think any of these candidates, most of them are fine men, and they're good people. They have different priorities. They have different skill sets, and I think each of them would bring a little something different to the table. Obviously, Donald Trump has made his selection. The governor's made his selection. Others have made their selections, and they are different candidates than Matt Van Epps. It's really up to the people of the 7th Congressional District, and I'm very excited to see how this turns out. 55 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS. USS stands for United Structural Systems. United Structural Systems is your one-stop shop for all things foundation in your home. Friends, if your foundation is in disarray or disrepair, you need to get it fixed, and you need to do so with USS. They are simply the best. Since 1994, they've been assisting in this regard. Middle Tennessee and the surrounding communities. Friends, they are the best at USS. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. They serve you by correcting the foundation in your home. If you have any of the telltale signs, if you have a moldy or musty smell coming out of your basement or crawl space, I encourage you to contact USS online at USSTN.com. At that telephone number, once again, 615-488-7855 for USS.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Chicago, Police Department Superintendent, the Chief, Larry Snelling, holding a news conference after that tense weekend where a woman was shot after allegedly trying to hit ICE agents with her car.
If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation.
Meanwhile, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signing an executive order establishing ice-free zones.
Establishing ice-free zones, banning immigration officers from any operation on public property, including schools, libraries, and parks.
ICE cannot enter establishments without a valid warrant.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signing an executive order.
Trump's federalized ICE personal military shot and killed someone.
And
I'm calling on this president to leave us the freak alone.
there have been more scuffles during protests. Chicagoans claim U.S. citizens have been dragged into vans and detained.
As Chuck Stevenson reporting. Former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez facing a felony battery charge after an attack on a 69-year-old truck driver during a parking dispute in Indianapolis. Prosecutors say the driver stabbed Sanchez in self-defense. The charge could mean up to 6 years in prison. Sanchez was in town for a broadcast assignment but didn't appear on air. He is due in court tomorrow. U.S. Supreme Court begins its session today. The new term could be a test to see if the justices decide to limit President Trump's presidential power as cases about tariffs and the firing of independent federal employees are on the docket. We get more from ABC's Devin Dwyer.
Legal experts say the justices to watch in many of these big cases are Justice Amy Coney Barrett and Chief Justice John Roberts. They're two conservatives, but two that are more inclined to find a moderate middle ground. And decisions in all of those cases are expected sometime before the end of June 2026.
And a federal judge has agreed to hear arguments on whether human smuggling charges in Tennessee against Kilmar Abrego Garcia are unlawfully retaliatory. The Salvadoran national was deported earlier this year despite a court order blocking his removal. After the U.S. Supreme Court ordered his return, prosecutors quickly brought up the smuggling case. Now the judge says there's enough evidence to suggest those charges may be in retaliation for that legal win. The court has ordered a hearing on October 10th. Abrego Garcia remains in custody and has pleaded not guilty. And here's why you are likely to smell hot dogs on the grill rather than hamburgers or steaks at your next tailgate or cookout. Beef prices have never been higher.
It's a basic economic principle played out at the grocery store meat counter. Demand for beef is up.
From the supply side,
says livestock economist Andrew Griffith,
we have the smallest cattle inventory since 1951.
helping to push the average price of a pound of ground beef to $6.32, nearly 14% higher than at this time last year. The expectation is that the national cattle herd will shrink further in 2026, pushing beef prices even higher. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Goodlettsville. Looks like we have a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Rowell Hill, TDOT reporting a crash 24 westbound at Bell Road. In Antioch, got a stalled vehicle, left shoulder block, 24 eastbound at Hickory Hollow. Hermitage, injury crash, off-ramp partially blocked, 40 eastbound to Old Hickory Boulevard. And in Smyrna, closed for road work, Sam Ridley Parkway between G Street and Weekly Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, breaking news, Illinois and Chicago. Illinois, man. I was just in Illinois. I was in Metropolis, in Illinois. I enjoyed my time there. I guess we drove through a lot of other parts of Illinois. All I saw out of Illinois in the southern portions of the state was a bunch of corn. A lot of corn in Illinois. Corn on the left side of me, corn on the right side of me, corn behind me, corn ahead of me. I mean, there's a lot of corn, a lot of dried corn, a lot of they're cutting it down this time of year. Corn has already been harvested, I guess. But all I saw was corn, and I saw a bunch of Trump signs down in the southern portion of the state. I guess not so much in the northern portions of the state. I did not see one single sign supporting J.B. Pritzker as the governor of Illinois. I did see 4 different signs in that state that said simply, Pritzker sucks. Big signs right there in the front yards of these folks' homes. Pritzker sucks. Variety of different homes. So we're just getting news that after the clash that happened over the weekend with Immigration and Customs Enforcement authorities in the state of Illinois, in Chicago specifically, and they were forced to shoot and kill a woman because, well, we'll get into that in just a moment, because there's an accusation going on, and I believe it, that Chicago police got a stand-down order, and they were told not to assist Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents as they were attempting to do their jobs on the federal level. They were surrounded by a number of automobiles, and the Chicago Police Department were told from the muckety-mucks not to assist fellow officers, fellow law enforcement. Now, the city of Chicago is denying this, but who do you believe? I don't believe them for a moment. I think that they clearly took the sides of lawbreakers. They took the side of the criminal when faced with an opportunity to assist federal authorities in doing their jobs. Now they have decided to sue Donald Trump. I want you to think about this for a moment. Donald Trump, without the support of the Illinois governor, has very limited abilities in what he can do in terms of immigration and customs enforcement, but he can do certain things. Obviously, they have the ability to protect federal installations, as they're doing in Portland, Oregon, by the way. So if the federal government has federal buildings on federal property in the city of Chicago, they have it within their ability to protect federal property within that city with federal enforcement agents. They also have every ability in the world to engage in immigration and customs enforcement in the city of Chicago. That is under the umbrella of the federal government, not the various states. Now, to employ National Guard troops, they would have to have some compliance with the Illinois governor, something that they got from the state of Tennessee and Governor Bill Lee with regard to Memphis, but something that obviously the governor of Illinois, being a Democrat and not really caring about criminal law breakers, they're not going to get from him. So the Trump administration has decided to do everything that they can within the scope of the law in order to stop criminal activity. And the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago have sued the president of the United States and the Trump administration in an effort to stop federal activity in the state of Illinois. Folks, can we spend a moment? I mean, I could go on until we stopped the show at 7 o'clock. Think about this for a moment. You can disagree with Donald Trump's approach to illegal alien activity, but the law is not in question here. The individuals that are being detained, the individuals that are being apprehended, will get due process in an immigration court and are getting due process in an immigration court. There is no question what the law says about their presence in the United States of America. None. There is no question that if you add 8 to 10 million illegal aliens within any system, and in this case the system is the United States of America, you are going to see among those 8 to 10 million illegal aliens a tremendous amount of lawbreakers among them, criminal elements, thieves, murderers, rapists. And obviously the Trump administration wants to focus on those individuals first, but if they, among their activities, find others who are in the United States of America illegally, those people will be processed too and sent back to their countries of origin, because that's what the law says to do. You know, the laws passed by the elected officials that you and I and every other state in this union collectively voted on and sent to Washington, D.C. My suggestion to Democrats, if they don't like the manner in which Donald Trump is exercising his duty as the president of the United States of America, I mean, you can complain and moan about it. You can find friendly spaces on ABC and on #NeverCNN and on MSNBC, or you can, hold on, wait for it, win a damn election. Win an election. Y'all won an election in 2020, he says. Got stuck in my throat a minute. But for the sake of argument, and I won't belabor the 2020 conversation, you won an election. And what happened? We had to sit and watch. The United States of America had to sit and watch as the Biden administration ignored the law, ignored our borders, ignored the fentanyl crisis, ignored human smuggling, ignored child smuggling, ignored the criminal elements coming into our country. Simply ignored it. And for 4 years, I sat here on this radio show, and you sat in your places of business and in your homes, and you watched. And when we finally had an opportunity to say something about it, we did. We voted. We voted for a change in the manner in which these issues are addressed. And you see, the political left, they don't care. I was talking to our good friend and colleague Chris Hand earlier today. And we were talking about this amongst other things. And some of you know, and I don't want to shine too much of a spotlight on this. I don't want to encourage this kind of nonsense. But there was a caller to Chris's show Friday. I was out, obviously, in which Chris was threatened. I mean, I don't know what else you would call it. When a caller says, oh, you're going to be the next martyr like Charlie Kirk, well, that is a direct threat. And you take that seriously in this day and age. And you have Democrat senators like Heidi Campbell reposting and encouraging this type of conversation and behavior. And I was talking with Chris about some of what happened. I wanted to get the lay of what went down Friday, just so I could understand it. And we were just discussing more broadly what's going down in Memphis, what's going down in Portland, what's going down in Chicago. And I said, I won't go so far as to call many of these Democrats evil. I think many of them are just useful idiots. But it's gotten to the point where I'm hard-pressed to tell you that some of these folks are not evil. And I don't use that term lightly. I don't. I know that it's thrown around a lot nowadays. And I don't recommend, and I never would recommend, that we do anything that's going to be a violation of the rights of other people, exterior, obviously, to the laws that we have in front of us and our ability to do something in a legal fashion. But, so I want to say that. I want to make sure that I say that when I'm using terminology like evil. That doesn't give anyone carte blanche to do anything exterior to the law. The laws are there for a reason, and we follow the laws, unlike them. They are actively encouraging a disruption of law and order to achieve goals that they could not achieve at the ballot box. These are the actions of third world banana republic garbage political people. That you cannot convince the people to vote for you at the ballot box. Therefore, you disrupt the streets of the cities that you claim to love. You allow people to be killed on those same streets. To achieve a political victory? Now, you tell me that's not what's happening in Chicago right now. The people of Chicago are suffering and have been suffering for a long time. My God, I just drove through it. In East St. Louis, those people are suffering. They bought a bill of goods sold to them. Now, East St. Louis, Chicago, Illinois, both Democrat cities, as blue as they get. And they bought into a bill of goods that was sold to them 50 years ago. You vote for us and everything's going to be better. We're the party of equality. We're the party of everybody has a seat at the table. We're a party of, a hand up to get a hand out. Or a hand out to get a hand up. And it's all garbage. Even if I thought that in the 1960s that Lyndon B. Johnson's Great Society came out of a place of earnestness and honesty, can we go ahead and say that it did not work? And they're not even hiding behind the idea that it does. They simply want you to do as they say, despite the fact that your cities, your communities, your streets are riddled with crime, illegal activity, illegal aliens. But you just sit on the Democrat mental plantation and you be a good little Democrat and you do as the Democrats say. And oh, by the way, simultaneous to all of that, when others try to do something about your plight, when others try to come in and eliminate at least portions of the issues that you see across the cities, across the United States of America, cities like Chicago or East St. Louis or Memphis, Tennessee, well, in these blue areas, in these blue states, they're suing Trump to stop Trump from doing what you ought to be doing in the first place if you gave one crap about your citizens. But you don't. But you don't. Tell me what Democrat politicians, what cause they're advancing to help the people. I'll wait. What is it? I mean, I'm open. What is it? What cause is Heidi Campbell or Afton Bain or Gloria Johnson or Justin Jones, or Bo Mitchell, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or Chuck Schumer, or Bernie Sanders? I could go on and on. Tell me the issue that they are a champion of that is going to make the lives of the American people better. And they wonder why they're losing. And as they lose the hearts and minds of the American people, they become more shrill, more desperate. And if you're dealing with people, and this is the point in this monologue, when you're dealing with people that don't have any respect for the rule of law, which is the point in bringing up Biden and his open border policy, when you're dealing with people that don't have respect for the rule of law, when they get desperate, when they recognize that they've lost the narrative, they continue to get more and more shrill in their language, more heated in their rhetoric. They don't care that Charlie Kirk is dead as a direct result of their rhetoric. They don't care. They don't care. And it's evidenced in Chicago, and it's evidenced in New York, and it's right here in Nashville, and it's over in Memphis every single day. And I don't believe they care about the plight of the people that they claim to champion, particularly in the inner cities. And this is our opportunity to convince those folks that there is a better way. And it's going to take some hard work on their part, but there's a better way. 615-737-9986 if you have any thoughts on that. We will continue to break down the 7th Congressional District here in just a moment. By the way, someone just said to me, well, that was a chicken bleep move, Matt. You say you don't endorse. No, I don't endorse. I'll explain the difference in just a moment. I'm not trying to be that way. I honestly want the 7th Congressional District to work this out on their own. And like I say, I just don't believe in it. I think endorsements are self-aggrandizing moments that are designed to benefit the individual offering the endorsement and not to serve as a benefit to the people receiving it. It's 23 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Dr. Brian McLaughlin and the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. Have I mentioned there are 2 locations? One's in Brentwood and the other in Murfreesboro. Dr. McLaughlin splits time between those 2 locations, making sure that he's available for anyone and everyone within the sound of my voice to help you sleep better, to help conquer sleep apnea, to help you snore less, which can benefit you in the bedroom with your partner. And obviously the health benefits of snoring less and eliminating or at least preventing the major issues involving sleep apnea are, the benefits are just too numerous to count. Obviously, the health detriment to your stopping breathing throughout the course of the night, it can be a major issue with your blood pressure and your heart issues. Well, when you use the FDA-approved oral device offered by Dr. Brian McLaughlin, which I use on a nightly basis, it's an oral device goes into your mouth, much like a mouth guard or a retainer, and you don't notice it. You sleep with it. It holds the jaw forward. You breathe better throughout the course of the night. The simplicity of this incredible invention is amazing. And I want you to be a part of this because you can sleep better and you don't have to put up with CPAP machines. I never would have in my life, and I don't think you would either. TennesseeSleep.com is the website. TennesseeSleep.com, either Murfreesboro or Brentwood. Call Dr. Brian McLaughlin today. TennesseeSleep.com begins that journey. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. And, Eurofix is a wonderful organization. Aaron Stokes started Eurofix some 26 years ago. I believe that's right. Started in a backyard, in a barn area, and now he has grown to 5 separate locations all across Middle Tennessee. And I'm so proud to be a part of that journey with him now. You can find locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. If you have a European automobile and you're not using Eurofix, might I politely tell you that you're doing it wrong? Because Eurofix is not your typical greasy garage. Waiting rooms are clean and comfortable and inviting. Service areas are spotless. They believe in taking care of every little thing because the little things add up to big things. It's all about how you're treated. Every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs that Eurofix performs and at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with dealer prices. You don't have to put up with being ghosted when you're waiting on a call back. So they also have rental cars available at every appointment. Eurofix fixes everything European. Call 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or online at myeurofix.com.
Illinois is the latest state to sue the Trump administration over plans to send in the National Guard to fight crime. But I'll tell you what that judge just said coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.9 WTN.
Yes, there's Ken Weaver. Hey, Ken, I lost this. I meant to flag it. There was a note for you on the super text line, Ken.
Uh-oh.
There was hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Because it was a proud listener to the Matt Murphy radio show,
Yes,
and they love Ken Weaver, and they said that they saw you at a business establishment.
The Coles in Murfreesboro.
Well, I wasn't going to necessarily, describe the intimate details of Ken Weaver's whereabouts over the weekend there, Jackson, but you can. I mean, that's fine.
I'm going to go ahead and dox Ken.
I wasn't there, I promise.
Well, someone says that they saw you, and the wife, apparently this fellow's wife works at the Coles.
Oh, okay.
And wanted to ask you for your autograph and was afraid to do it.
I would have given it. I don't carry writing utensils on me. I'd have to borrow her pen.
Well, I mean, I bet she had one, and I told them the same. I said you should have hit him up because Ken Weaver would have absolutely loved that. You can walk up to Ken and say, I'm just doing the news, boys.
Either that or, how about you?
How about you, Ken?
Yes, sir.
Give him one of that. I like that. Or what are Ken's got a lot of them.
Boomer!
Oh, by the way, Ken, who y'all got this weekend?
Texas.
Mm-hmm. Y'all gonna whoop Texas. Ken.
Dude.
Hey, Jackson, get out of my way. Jackson. Jackson. Get out of my way. I want to look Ken in the eye.
What's that?
Ken.
Yes, sir.
Y'all are going to beat those Longhorns. I looked you right in the eye.
That's rat poisoning, Brother Murphy. It's rat poison.
It ain't no rat poison. That Texas team ain't it.
Dude, we're not either.
Apparently that name on the back of that jersey doesn't control throwing the football.
We couldn't break 400 total yards against Kent State. Think about what Texas defense is going to do.
Well, Ken, that's just shameful. What was the final score of that game again?
44-0.
That was with a backup quarterback?
Yes, sir.
This game's going to be first in the field goal range wins.
You think?
But isn't that the SEC this year?
Oh, man, a lot of beating each other up. I don't know that a team gets out of the SEC without 2 total losses. Now, maybe Alabama just loses one other game, and I know that one of their losses is out of conference, but I think there's going to be a lot of beating each other up. I think A&M's got it coming. I think look, when Vandy takes Alabama to the fourth quarter in Tuscaloosa,
yes, sir,
that's saying something.
Well, dude, look at Mississippi State now. I mean, they put up a pretty good fight.
They put up a tussle. They're putting up a tussle. You know, every team in the SEC is putting up a tussle except for Kentucky.
I'm so glad.
I mean, I'm sorry.
That's not nice.
Did I say that? I just think it. I meant Kentucky. I didn't mean. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
I'm trying to be nice. Those folks don't have a lot going on right now.
Well, basketball starts in a month.
Let me tell you this, though. That's true, but let me tell you this. To make up for it, let me say something nice. Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Paducah's lovely. It is. It really is.
Eh.
What do you mean, eh?
It's in Kentucky.
It's a lovely little town. Started by William Clark of Lewis and Clark. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice little town.
Not very far from Uranus.
No. I'm going to have to disagree with you, Ken. It's a
pretty good drive.
It's a fur piece from Uranus.
No, Ken, you're just thinking. Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
So, but I watched. I took a picture and I put this up on social media. I know we got to go to news. I put it up on social media. It was we cruised into Paducah and we grabbed something to eat. And I watched the second half of the Georgia-Kentucky game all by myself. E was running around shops and I was all by my lonesome. And I took a picture. Everybody had left. All the Kentucky fans were gone.
Well, I mean,
Well, the coal mines start early.
Jackson.williams@cumulus.com.
Oh, I would love the Kentucky fans to flood my inbox.
Look, I've already been called all kind of names today. I don't know why I'm getting called names.
Looking forward to those 2 emails.
Stuart Parks, by the way, is going to call us names if we don't get to Stuart. And we're getting to Stuart right after the news. Stuart, hang in there. We'll be back in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And Illinois has become the latest state to sue the Trump administration over plans to send National Guard troops against the wishes of the state and local government. Governor J.B. Pritzker says residents don't feel safer with troops on the ground.
When it comes to public safety, they want civilian law enforcement when they need them, and jobs, and after-school programs for kids in the neighborhoods. They do not want Donald Trump to occupy their communities.
Well, the judge has declined to block Trump's troop deployment there in Illinois. Right now in Nashville, a Metro Council member's drawing controversy with the new resolution. Jenny Welsh urging the council to denounce what she calls the genocide of Palestinians by Israel and the U.S. The resolution cites international human rights reports and claims more than 60,000 deaths in Gaza since October 2023. It's set for discussion at the October 9th Metro Council meeting. It's already sparking some strong reactions across the city. And still no sign of the federal government shutdown ending, but White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says President Trump's working the phone.
He was on the phone with Speaker Johnson. He's also spoken with the Senate Majority Leader, who are in touch with, of course, moderate Democrats and Democrats across the board, who we understand hopefully want to do the right thing by their constituents to reopen the government.
Lawmakers in the Senate expected to vote today on the same bills that have already been rejected. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now in Hermitage, we've got an injury crash, Central Pike. That's near Old Hickory Boulevard. In Goodlettsville, a disabled vehicle now blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Woodbine, a crash. Police say it's 24 eastbound at near I-440. Not a good place for a crash this time of day. South Nashville, a crash blocking the right lane, 24 westbound at Murfreesboro Pike. That's not a good place either. And in Antioch, a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 24 eastbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. I'm Ken Weaver.
Oh, man. We're getting, I think we've got Gino coming up at 6. So we had Van Epps. We got Jody probably tomorrow. So we're going to get all of them in here, including our buddy Stuart Parks, who's coming up in just moments on Super Talk 99. So, okay, Gino just confirmed. So Gino's going to call. We're going to talk to Gino by phone at around 6 o'clock tonight. So we're getting them all in here by the end of the final full day before Election Day begins tomorrow in the 7th Congressional District, as they say in the state of Tennessee. Vote early, vote often. Vote early, vote often. That's how we do it. 41 after the hour. Don't vote often. I'm just kidding. That's a joke, kids. So let's talk to Stuart Parks, who is a candidate for the 7th Congressional District, a good friend of the show. Had Stuart in studio soon after his release, his unjust incarceration following the January 6th situation that happened up at the Capitol building in 2021. I hope that you all know that story by now, but you might not know that Stuart was very much involved in politics even before that. Obviously, he ran for the 5th Congressional District in that primary and is now running in the 7th Congressional District, and we're pleased to have him on the day before Election Day. Hey, Stuart, how are you, buddy?
Doing well, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I've been meaning to catch up with you for some time, and obviously no time like the present, as tomorrow is Election Day. What's been the reaction out on the stump? I mean, obviously you've declared that you're the only one that has sat in a jail cell in your defense of the President of the United States of America. Just talk to us about what folks are telling you on the campaign trail, Stuart.
People are loving it. We're going to have the election booths and the election centers flooded tomorrow with Stuart Park supporters from Benson County and Camden all the way to Berry Hill, Tennessee, and Davidson County. People are loving it. My motto is putting America first means putting you first. And I'm so thankful for President Trump for his pardon. Trump was there for me. I'm going to be there for him, and together we will be there for Tennessee. So the reaction's been amazing. People love your show, Matt. They remember all the times I was on your show. And I'm talking about rural counties, places nobody ever heard of. Tune into your show and remember the interviews you did. So thank you.
Well, it's our pleasure, obviously, and I appreciate your passion and your spirit. And I don't know if you were surprised. I was a little surprised that the president chose to endorse in this race. Were you surprised by that? And what's been your reaction, and what is your message to the people planning to go to vote tomorrow?
My message is this. This is something we've never seen before. Trump personally pardoned me. No auto pen personally pardoned me, way back January 20th of this year. Got my clean record back. People are very, very excited. So the first time in election history in this state, in this country, we're seeing, a candidate that was personally pardoned by Donald Trump, a Trump supporter that went to prison for Trump in the race first, and congratulations to Ben Epps for getting the Trump endorsement. That is prestigious. This is the first time we're seeing this, that two true Trump supporters and Trump candidates are in the race. And so, I stand out. I like Ben Epps. I'm nice to him. I don't mudsling. I'm known for running the cleanest campaign in this race. And what stands me apart is I'm 8th generation Tennessee. I'm a Tennessee Christian conservative. I'm unvaccinated and doing really, really well. Been to all 14 counties many, many times and knocked on people's door. People know who I am, and they're very excited to turn out and vote for me tomorrow.
So you did release a statement regarding Van Epps, and you're just trying – and I know you, Stuart, and I know you run clean races. You don't get in the mud. But you wanted to make sure that people understood that you were still in the race. And you're saying that the Van Epps folks were incorrectly stating that you were not in the race anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, again, I don't mudsling. I stay in my lane. I want Van Epps, him to stay in his lane. And, you see, what they've done when he was on the COVID board, ruined people's lives and, interfered with mine and many other people. I'm unvaccinated. And then we caught him, his supporters in his camp, again, at the beginning. They tried to manipulate the ballot by kicking me and Joe Lewis off. And thank God for people like Natisha Brooks and the State Executive Committee. Thank God the Republican Party, stepped in and saved the day and, kept the election integrity for this race. Thank God for Scott Goldman and all them. So, I was saved and kept on the ballot, and they said it. People said it was the Van Epps camp. They tried to manipulate and get me and Joe Lewis off the ballot. And thank God, Joe Lewis is a hero, decorated with so many medals, and I can't believe, Van Epps would stoop that low. And then, Well, getting phone calls and people, okay, so a Republican candidate in this race called me, and they're like, Stuart Park, you got out and you endorsed Van Epps? And I said, no, I have not. My supporters and I were fighting to the death for this seat to serve and save Tennessee. We're never going back to 2020 and the Biden reign of terror. So then, we're door knocking, and this lady in Fairview was shocked. She's like, you're still in the race? And so then you see today the Chad Benson show, 99.7 with Thank God for Chad. He issued a correction because people were blowing up my phone saying, they're issuing a statement saying Stuart Parks is out of the race and endorsed Van Epps or whatever. We're like, no, we haven't. So thank God again for Chad Benson earlier on 99.7 issuing the correction. He got it.
And Chad comes on right before us, and I happen to be listening, and I think maybe I'm certain what happened with Chad. So, you have another Stewart in the race, Stuart Cooper, who did suspend his campaign and did endorse Van Epps. And I believe what happened on Chad's show, and I'm not speaking for him, was that he incorrectly said your name and then immediately corrected it like minutes later. So there was no intention to do that sort of thing on Chad's part. I think I can safely speak for him in that regard, Stuart. I just want to make sure that you know that he would never have done that to you.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, and I'm not attacking Chad. Chad did the best thing, and thank God for Chad. And the background story behind that was a wonderful pastor in the district heard it and quickly texted me, and I notified my campaign team, and they notified Chad. So that's the background story.
Very good.
But he did good, and we're not attacking Chad.
But do you feel like, Stuart, that this on the part of the Van Epps folks is intentional? They're trying to confuse people?
Well, we don't mudsling and attack Van Epps, so why and it's Matt Van Epps' camp. That's what's keep coming up. And and then again, I'm not here to mudsling and mention names and embarrass anybody, but manipulating the ballot at the very beginning of this election, they said it was the leadership in Tennessee said that it was the Matt Van Epps camp. And I love people. I'm not trying to make a scene or, whatever. And then, there was downplayed like, oh, they were just being silly. No, they wasn't being silly because the regular, everyday voters don't know that you can contest the bona fide status. Those people knew what they were doing just like they know what they're doing now. And I like Stuart Cooper. Love the guy. I wish he would stay in the race. He ran a great campaign and, he's a great guy. And, this is, we're in the final moments of this race. I'm doing really, really well, and we're going to pull off a big upset tomorrow.
So what's the final message then, Stuart? I mean, what are your priorities for those who might not be as familiar with your camp? I know you're not as funded from, D.C. committees, and you just don't have the money that some camps have, but you have a great message. You have a great spirit. What are your priorities if there are people listening to us right now that might not be as familiar with your campaign? What are you going to do that separates Stuart Parks from some of the other candidates?
Well, I'm so glad and thankful you had me on your show. My message is putting America first. I mean, putting you first. I'm running for every, church, every church goer that had their their church shut down because they labeled non-essential. My message is, again, putting America first means putting you first. This is a Jesus campaign. We don't mudsling. We just, have to clean up messes that other campaigns have, laid out. And, again, I get it. It's politics. It's dirty. But I don't want to ever go back to 2020, go back to prison. I don't want anybody in this district to go through what I went through. It was horrendous. Everybody remembers when 99.7 covered it, and, y'all did a phenomenal job. So, again, I want a strong economy. I will, go with the Trump agenda that, benefits our district. I want places like Waynesboro to flourish, get their, manufacturing jobs back. We're going to have a strong economy. You're going to have your freedom back. You're going to have your schools back. No more, weird transgenderism, woke, mess in our schools. Public school teachers all over the district are, fed up with the restrictions they have that they can't, teach and do all this stuff. We're going to get our teachers back. We're going to get everything back, and we're going to be, a Jesus district. And so I'm so thankful you had me on your show. This is great, Matt. People love you, and this is going to be we're going to have a great turnout tomorrow.
Well, Stuart, we love you. We appreciate your fighting spirit, and I always have, and I've always had great respect for you. Best of luck tonight. Best of luck tomorrow. And, win, lose, or draw, we'll talk to you very soon because I know you'll continue the good fight either in Washington, D.C. or right here in the state of Tennessee.
God bless you. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Stuart. There's Stuart Parks running for the 7th Congressional District. Now, once again, just to reset the lay of the land here, Stuart's people are saying they're frustrated with Matt Van Epps because they say that they were involved in trying to keep him off the ballot at the beginning, and now Stewart's folks are saying, oh, they're calling in and they're saying that Stewart Parks is out. Van Epps folks say that this was a matter of confusion and that Stuart Cooper is the candidate that they're discussing leaving the race, and Stuart Cooper, not Stewart Parks. Also, just to add to this, spelled completely differently. You know, Stewart is like Stewart. That's Stuart Parks. The other Stewart is like Stuart Little. What? Isn't that the way that they STU?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, and they're spelled differently is what I'm trying to say, but they're pronounced the same. What do you call that? Homonym?
Onomatopoeia?
I think so, yeah. I think it's an onomatopoeia.
That's not it.
I know it's not it. Just wanted you to admit it. Anyway, so I think that look, Stewart Parks doesn't want to be lumped in with the Stuart Cooper folks who did get out of the race, who did endorse Matt Van Epps. Matt Van Epps people say, no, we've been talking about Stuart Cooper, not Stuart Parks. I mean, it's just, these are the waning moments of a very crowded political campaign that has in the last several days seen a Trump endorsement. And obviously Stuart Parks says, look, I'm the only guy that went to jail for Donald Trump. He pardoned me. I appreciate that. Well, he didn't endorse you. He endorsed Matt Van Epps for what it is worth. I find it interesting that when in a race like this one, and we've been through several of these, guys. I've been through several of these where everybody's the Trump candidate, and then when Trump comes out and folks have decided how they want to vote, and Trump comes out and selects a candidate that isn't your candidate, and suddenly you decide that Trump's endorsement doesn't matter, that his discernment doesn't matter. And I'm getting a lot of that, especially from Jody Barrett folks. And that's fine. I get it. I understand that. And maybe some of it's coming from Stuart Parks people or other people. Gino's going to be on at 6 o'clock. We'll ask Gino what he thinks of the endorsement, too. Suddenly, the endorsement doesn't matter nearly as much. It's 53 after the hour. Your thoughts, your calls, coming up in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, folks, so a couple of weeks ago, we had the AccuShoot LFX system in town. It was demoed at the Glock store, and it's pretty cool. I wish that I could have tried it. Dan Mandis went out and tried it. The capper for the week, AccuShoot LFX, held their first international shooting competition, and the Glock store was one of 5 teams competing around the world. And Mitch Young, the Glock store's range and training manager, won first place. I'm not surprised about that because he's trained me. Mitch is incredible. I've seen him shoot. He's pretty amazing. What did surprise me is that his teammate David, who just started training with Mitch at the Glock store, came in third worldwide. That's pretty cool stuff. That is a testimony to how great the Glock store shooting rooms are. The Shoot 270 design is, it's just the new way of doing things, folks. You will never want to go back to a shooting lane again. Because the Glock store Shoot 270 rooms are superior in every way. You get a personalized trainer. You have a more real-world experience. That's what it's all about at the Glock store. So go in and tour some of the shooting rooms. Sign up for a membership so you can get to shoot270.com easily on the web and find out more about that, or go to glockstore.com or stop by. They're on Airlane Drive just off of Elm Hill Pike. Elm Hill Pike is just off of Briley Parkway, and Briley Parkway is just minutes away from anywhere. It's the Glock store. Go by and see them today and tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And Illinois sued, but a federal judge declined to block the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago to help fight crime. President Trump insisting protesters are going after federal agents there.
I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker accuses the Trump administration of intentionally inciting chaos so that the president could make an excuse to send the Guard in. Meanwhile, President Trump suggesting he might invoke the Insurrection Act to deploy military forces in Portland, Oregon amid legal challenges.
Portland is on fire. Portland's been on fire for years.
Federal Judge Corinne Emergut issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Portland deployment, citing violations of the 10th Amendment and the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits the use of federal military forces in domestic law enforcement. In Memphis, major law enforcement sweep making headlines. The newly launched Memphis Safe Task Force arrested 321 people in just its first week of operation, according to the Department of Justice. That includes 82 immigration-related arrests made by ICE. And the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, repeating the warning about layoffs if the government shutdown continues.
The Office of Management and Budget is continuing to work with agencies on who, unfortunately, is going to have to be laid off if this shutdown continues.
Lawmakers in the Senate expected to vote today on the same bills they've already failed to get through. And former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez has been charged with felony battery after a violent parking dispute in Indianapolis. Prosecutors say Sanchez attacked a 69-year-old truck driver who stabbed Sanchez in self-defense. Sanchez was in town for a broadcast but didn't appear on air. He's out on bond due in court Tuesday.
According to the probable cause affidavit, after Sanchez allegedly shoved the driver believed he was now in physical danger, grabbed his pepper spray and sprayed Mr. Sanchez in the face. The affidavit says Sanchez again advanced towards the driver, saying the driver thought, "This guy's trying to kill me." So he pulled his knife, and when Mr. Sanchez came at him, ultimately striking him multiple times. Police say when a detective tried to get a statement from Sanchez at the hospital, Mr. Sanchez said he did not know who did this to him or where it happened.
Right now in Nashville, a recall petition's been filed against Metro Council member Roland Horton. People not happy following Horton's push to rezone parts of the nation's neighborhood for high-density housing. The petition submitted last week, Horton defending the plan, saying it promotes walkability, affordability, tree preservation, claims it was shaped by 2 years of community input, but opponents argue the process lacked transparency and proper outreach. Petitioners now have 30 days to gather enough signatures to trigger a special election. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Edlittsville, TDOT says a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. In Hermitage, injury crash, Central Pike near Old Hickory Boulevard. And in Madison, a crash, Gallatin Pike South, just right there, just south of Due West Avenue. Antioch got a stalled vehicle on the left shoulder, 24 eastbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. Woodbine, police reporting a crash, 24 eastbound near I-440. And the right lane is blocked by a crash. TDOT says this one is 24 westbound at Murfreesboro Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. I've not been a part of it the last couple of times we've gathered together. I'm happy to be here now. It is 6 minutes after 5 o'clock. Thank you for being around with us, whatever time you're able to give us. Maybe you're just getting off work into your automobile on the way home. We'll hopefully make your drive better, a little more palatable, if you will, by informing you as to what is going on in the world and perhaps at some point in the course of the process, make you smile or frown or emote in some form or fashion. Assisted in these endeavors by Ken Weaver, who is in News Closet B. He gathers headlines, delivers those headlines twice an hour or when it breaks. We appreciate him. Jackson Williams, young Jackson. You happy to have me back, Jackson? I mean, that's the big question. I would expect, as good as Cameron is at the work that it takes to fill in these little bitty, itty-bitty, tiny shoes, I would think that you would be perhaps happy that I've returned to the saddle.
I missed the banter.
The banter.
Yes.
Well, between Ken and I?
Yeah.
Ken and I's banter is pretty good.
The to and fro.
Let me tell you, if y'all missed the Uranus talk in the 3 o'clock hour, it was something special.
Oh.
And I would encourage you to go dig that up. Go dig into Uranus and find out what we were talking about in the 3 o'clock hour. It is worth looking at it on the YouTube TV. You can find us on television. Talk TV is up and running and available. That would be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. We beg of you to like, subscribe, give us the old thumbs up when you go over there. What does that cost, Ken?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. Also costs you nothing to give us a call and give your thoughts on what's happening around the world. I've got a few thoughts on what's going on in Chicago. Illinois and Chicago have sued the Trump administration over their deployment of the National Guard. That deployment was primarily on federal installations, and they're also utilizing Immigration and Customs Enforcement to better secure that city, which is almost descended into lawlessness in certain areas. We will discuss that on the show today. Also, the city of Chicago, two long-time ranking Chicago police sources, according to Fox News, sharply rejected the police department's assertion that officers responded to calls for help from ICE agents who were rammed and surrounded by protesters Saturday, telling Fox News the official statement, in their words, was, quote, cover their bleep, bull bleep. The comments came as Fox News obtained an internal dispatch revealing that Chicago police officers, listen to this now, the Chicago Police Department was ordered by their police chief of patrol not to respond to Border Patrol agents who needed help, saying that they were boxed in by protesters and surrounded following a ramming incident outside of the city. According to multiple federal and Chicago law enforcement sources, the computer-aided dispatch message sent to Chicago police officers by their chief of patrol instructed officers not to respond to a Saturday morning ramming on the southwest side of the city in which an armed woman was shot and agents were boxed in and surrounded. Please, chief of patrol, no units will respond to this, related from 04 October 5, 2025. Caller is one of approximately 30 armed patrol agents, ICE, who are being surrounded by a large crowd of people requesting CPD. So just consider for a moment the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, regardless of how you think they're doing their duty, they are doing their duty. They are doing as their bosses are telling them to do, and everything that they're doing is within their legal right. Yet, the city of Chicago, when called to back up the Border Patrol agents, declined to do it. They just said no. Now, thank God something worse did not happen. Now, sadly, they had to shoot this lady. And maybe, just maybe, they would not have had to take a life had the Chicago Police Department responded in an adequate fashion, but they chose not to. The Chicago Police Department said, no, we're not responding. I mean, regardless of whether or not they're wearing a uniform, you have a call from people who are in crisis, who are surrounded by lawbreakers and lawlessness, and their lives are at risk, and they called the Chicago police, and the Chicago police said, nah, we're not going to do anything about that. I mean, what a scummy human being Mayor Brandon Johnson truly is. Mike is in Old Hickory. He's been holding for a minute. Hey, Mike, you miss me?
Yeah, I did. I kind of did.
Well, I'm glad of that. Mike, how are you?
You and I have some pretty good intellectual talks and maybe non-intellectual talks every once in a while. But what I want to ask is that on October 15th, the media is saying that the military is not going to be paid, but the good news, though, is that the illegal aliens are going to continue to get paid their fraudulent Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid payments. And so, therefore, they get their money every month, but the military is going to be cut off. And the military, which is federal, and, that's not going to really happen. Trump would never let that happen. He would bring them back so quick.
No, so well, let me speak to that for a moment, and I'll let you continue, Mike. No one impacted by the government shutdown who potentially has a delay in payment will go without that payment. In other words, they will be made whole. They'll get back pay. Even those agencies that do not get paid up front, and some of them will, every time we have a government shutdown, everyone impacted by the government shutdown gets paid. Everyone. So, I mean, every time that it's happened in my life, everyone impacted has been paid.
Here's the thing. This time it's different. It's a mixture of words. It's called layoffs or furloughs.
Well, no, I mean, no. Hold on a second. Now, what Donald Trump is doing, Mike, I would agree with you. Donald Trump is taking advantage of this situation and saying, that's fine. While we have all of these non-essential people at home, let's go ahead and do a comprehensive review on the amount of non-essential people that don't need to come back home, because we need to shrink the size of the federal government anyway. And by shrinking the size of the federal government, that naturally means laying people off. So I'm in favor of all of that.
Yep, permanently.
Yeah, I mean, the government is not, nor should it ever be, considered a jobs program.
And therefore, we need to distinguish between furlough, layoffs, and all that, but then make sure that the people in the military are not going to lose their paychecks on October 15th, like the military or the media, most of the media is saying, is that you guys are going to lose your jobs. And you know what? Even if they did lose their paychecks, our military right now would say, you know what? I'm going to continue serving, unlike Democrats. They wouldn't ever serve. These non-essential Democrats, they won't show up, but our military will, even if they're not being paid. And I guarantee you, Donald Trump, whenever this thing is all over, he's going to make sure our military is going to be paid.
Oh, yeah. There's no, and Mike, thank you for the call. There's no question the military will be paid. I was a bit surprised that there was never a question as to whether or not we would have a graduation. You know, we went out to my nephew's graduation from basic training at Fort Leonard Wood. There were a lot of people there. If you've not seen my post on social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter, you can go to Twitter at Matt Murphy Show. Follow me on Twitter. I'm a hell of a follow. I'm meaner on Twitter than I am here, and that's saying something. But I briefly considered whether or not they would cancel graduation ceremonies. The ceremonies, for what it is worth, were fairly straightforward. There was obviously a gathering together, a playing of the national anthem. We, talked about the platoons that were graduating that day, and, the assembled crowd listened as, their individual soldiers, private first class, in our case, Alex, was graduating from B Company, and very proud of him. 48th, the fighting 48th, is that right? I might have that wrong. I'm sorry, off the top of my head. One way or the other, we were considering whether or not they would potentially cancel graduation ceremonies. They did not do that. Everyone in the military, every employee that is expected to retain their job after the shutdown will get paid in full. These are mere furloughs in the sense of you get a few days off. Now, I was directly impacted, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, because we were unable to go to the top of the arch in St. Louis, which was very disappointing. I wanted to go to the top of the arch. Now Jackson has had the opportunity to do something that I've never had, which was, the space up there on the top of the arch is it's small confines, right?
I don't really remember, but I think so.
How old were you, Jackson?
13.
Well, that doesn't really count.
Yeah, it does.
You're a skullamush.
That was 12 years ago.
You don't even remember.
Actually, I was 14.
What? Okay, tell me. What'd you see? You see
St.
the river?
Louis.
You saw. That's very good. Yes.
A little bit of Illinois.
The Gateway Arch is in St. Louis. Congratulations.
Can you see Uranus from there?
You remember, you cannot see Uranus from the Gateway Arch. At least as far as I know. You can see 30 miles in any direction. I think Uranus is way beyond 30 miles away. Thank God. That said, yes, the Gateway Arch is in St. Louis, and yes, the Mississippi River is there, and yes, Illinois is across the river, but you could know all of these things from the ground, for goodness sake. Come on. Anything else you remember about the Gateway Arch? And any fun facts you remember about the Gateway Arch from the age of 13?
Elevator was creaky.
They call it a tram because it's not, they had to, I read up about this, how they did that system. That was incredible, state of the art. They pour concrete into the bottom, 200 feet of those arches to make sure that they're nice and stable. And they go down into the ground another 60 feet or something like that.
And if that tram cable snaps, you're
hosed?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I imagine you would be. Not that I would know anything about that because I wasn't able to go in because of the stupid government shutdown. Thank you, Democrats. I blame the Democrats. The gift shop was closed at the visitor center, but they had a little mobile gift shop that was open where we bought some trinkets. Rod, you'll be coming up in just a moment. Larry is in Clarksville with a thought on Matt Van Epps. Hello, Larry.
How are you, brother?
I'm doing well, Larry. You all right?
Well, I'm so glad you guys made it back home safely. And first of all, salute to your nephew.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
He's a good young man.
Well, he comes from good stock. I am still undecided about who I'm going to vote for, but I absolutely hate the mudslinging within the party. And Matt Van Epps, while I appreciate his service, I appreciate his time to our country, he's the one that started the mudslinging. And
hold on now. I'm just trying to think about it. Now, he has benefited from it. Obviously, a lot of folks are throwing a lot of garbage at Jody. Jody has been the recipient of most of it. A lot of that came from the House Freedom Action Committee, which ultimately supported Lee Reeves, I guess. So,
well, I never really caught on to the Lee Reeves campaign. I mean, Jody just seems like somebody that grew up kind of like I did, where hard work and, you know, you understand what has to be done and you do it. But, you know, Matt Van Epps has lived a blessed life. I didn't get to go to the Air Force Academy. I didn't get to go, you know, to West Point. And I've wanted to fly all my life.
Well, Larry, I'm not here to defend Van Epps. I'm not here to speak for their campaign. But so understand, you earned that, right? I mean, I don't just walk up to West Point and say, "Here's some money."
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to earn it, and I appreciate that, and I salute that. You know, but
let me tell you, Jody is a beneficiary. The people that were behind some of this money that came into this race against Jody, some of it was school choice advocacy groups. Some of it were other advocacy groups that had other candidates that they were supporting, and I'm primarily talking about the House Freedom Action Committee. And then some Van Epps support, third-party Van Epps support, and all of them circled the wagons and pointed arrows at Jody. And all of that's backfired on them. They overplayed their hand, right? There was a way to highlight the fact that Jody Barrett was anti-Trump and called Trump a liberal douchebag without doing it this way. And those of us that know Jody know, and most in the 7th Congressional District feel like they know him better than some of these ads seem to. They know that, look, I've had disagreements with Jody Barrett. Jody comes on this show and we air out those disagreements and we talk like men, and I have more respect for him as a result of that than I would if he avoided those types of conversations. I have all the respect in the world for Jody Barrett. I think Jody Barrett would be fine in Congress.
I don't think we have any bad candidates. It's just that I hate the mudslinging. And my original two that I was teeter-tottering on was Jody Barrett or Matt Van Epps. And my brother, who's, a little bit older than me, he's 9 years older, he contacted me and asked me who I thought. And I said, well, personally, I'm going with Jody Barrett. And I said, but, secondly, Matt Van Epps is a good guy too. And he goes, well, that's what I'm seeing. But then I see all these damn negative ads coming in. I'm sorry, I don't know if I could say that on the radio, but I see all these negative ads coming in against Jody, and that's just strengthened. Now, I think Stewart is a great guy, and I hope he stays in this, and I hope he runs for some state office.
Well, that's right. I mean, I feel the same about Mason Foley. I don't know that Mason Foley is going to win, but Mason Foley was incredibly impressive when he came into our studio, and I most certainly hope that Mason continues his journey. If he's called to public service, we will have him back on. We will make sure that everyone that needs to be exposed to what he's all about will be, because I think his heart's in the right place. I don't know that he has the ability to win this tomorrow, but we'll see. I've not experienced a race like this in a long, long time, Larry, in as much as I couldn't tell you, I wouldn't put money on any candidate to tell you that candidate was going to win the election, because the ultimate vote totals are so low. I think early voting is only like 16,000 votes or something like that, which in the Republican primary, which is just a drop in the bucket. Even if you double that up, that's only 30,000 votes. That is well less than 5% of the total population in the 7th Congressional District. So you're talking about a few hundred votes could swing this thing one way or the other, and there's no runoff. So, you're telling me, Larry, with, 14 hours to go before the polls open, that you don't know who you're voting for?
Well, I mean, I got a pretty good idea.
Okay.
It's not going to be Matt Van Elps, I can tell you that.
Well, there you go. And Trump's endorsement doesn't mean anything to you.
No, sir, it doesn't. I don't trust endorsements.
Nah, I don't blame
you.
I don't blame you.
I don't care for endorsements. I don't, and as much as I love you, Matt, and appreciate you, if you came out today and said, Larry, you need to vote for this guy or that guy, that's not going to mean crap.
Well, I don't. That's why I don't do it. I don't believe in them. I think endorsements are self-aggrandizing. I think newspapers do it, and muckety mucks do it. And I look, I don't knock that type of thing, and I respect. And thank you for the call. I got to scoot. I respect the fact that there are some people that respect my opinion on these things, and I appreciate that, and I am very humbled by that. And for those people, I tell you that if you ask me who I would vote for, I will tell you who I will vote for, but you got to ask. 26 after the hour, I got to go. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. I had a lot of good flavors on my trip. Oh, man, but I missed Savory Spice. I missed the incredible salt and pepper sprinkle, the seasoning. It's a premix, a pre-blend, which is just perfectly done with some delicious pepper and some incredible salt. I mean, they have it at Savory Spice, and you can find it over there. I mean, they've got any and all spices that you can imagine. Obviously, they've got seasonings galore. And by that, I mean, different blends, different types of arrangements that work well with this food or that food. I love the fact that they have just about every salt in the world. And look, it wasn't too long ago when I couldn't have told you that there were different salts, but there are a lot of different types of salts, and they have them at Savory Spice too. Plus, they have the Spice and Easy line of products, which helps you in the kitchen. If you're not that familiar with your ways around the kitchen, but you want to do some more cooking at home, they can help you at Savory Spice. Plus, gift-giving galore at Savory Spice. Go by and see them. They're in Franklin, next to the square, right next to Gray's Pharmacy, right off the square. Tell Holly, David, and the rest of the local crew that Matt Murphy said hello and sent you. You up your food game by upping your spice game. And friends, you up your spice game at Savory Spice.
5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes, and a federal judge has declined to block the Trump administration's plan to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago. Separately, Chicago's mayor signed an executive order today that curtails some ICE activities in the city. Here's Alex Perez.
Under that order, ICE agents here in Chicago, federal agents here in Chicago, are prohibited from carrying out any of their operations on city property, that be buildings, parking lots, schools, or any other city property. Now, as you might imagine, when they're carrying out some of these operations, they do need a staging area. This order prohibits them from doing that. The city saying they will put up certain signs indicating what is city property to make sure that doesn't happen there. And they're encouraging the people, the community, to report any incidences where that executive order is violated.
Meanwhile, a federal judge appointed by Trump blocked the sending of National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. But Trump's threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Portland is on fire. Portland's been on fire for years.
Now, federal judge Corinne Emergit issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Portland deployment, citing violations of the 10th Amendment and the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits the use of federal military forces in domestic law enforcement. And here in Tennessee, the Memphis Safe Task Force is making waves in its first week. Federal officials say the task force has arrested 321 people, including 82 immigration-related arrests by ICE. The crackdown targeted violent offenders, gang members, and led to the recovery of 7 missing children. Among those taken into custody, 28 gang members, 4 juveniles, and suspects wanted for rape, murder, and sex crimes. Agents say they also seized 83 firearms and made arrests for drug charges, probation violations, and outstanding warrants. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. In Woodbine, police reporting a crash 24 eastbound near I-440 and Antioch Bell Road at Collins Park. Injury crash in Hermitage Central Pike near Old Hickory Boulevard. Madison, police say there's a crash. Gallatin Pike south of Due West Avenue. Goodlettsville, disabled vehicle blocking the right lane. 64 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
You know, I don't get to say this very often, but seed season is here. That's right, seed season. And Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply is ready with all of the seeds, fertilizers, pre-emergence, and herbicides. I said herbicides. I kind of softened that H. Herbicides needed to get your property ready for winter and for next year. Their proven turf technology, tall fescue blend, and premium starter fertilizer won't be found at your big box stores. No. They're found at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. They offer the best seed at the best price around. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply is the place to go as well to get your lawn its best. And if you want the best-looking lawn in the neighborhood, it is always a good idea to get the fall ready. What you want to do is get the fall ready for the winter and get the winter ready for the spring. And then by the time the spring comes around, you have a beautiful lawn. If you wait until spring to do all of these things, well, you've waited too long. They know this at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. September and October are the best time to sow cool season grasses like fall, fescue, and rye. They offer professional advice and know-how. You can DIY your lawn and your landscaping with advice from the pros. Go where the pros go. Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, 7 convenient Middle Tennessee locations. You're never too far from one of their stores. Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Moore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. Online at DickensSupply.com. DickensSupply.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 38 minutes after the hour. We'll get to nincompoops in the news coming up in mere moments. Lots to get to, as well as Gino Bolso coming up at 6:05. We're trying to honor as many requests as we possibly can in the 7th Congressional District race. Obviously, a lot of folks like Larry, several of you on the Super Text line have told me that you have yet to make a decision, and you have every plan in the world to go to the polls tomorrow. You better take your rubbers. You better take your slicker. You better take your umbrellas, for it will be raining at the polls. Ken, am I correct? Is it raining at the polls tomorrow?
There's a very good chance of it, Brother Murphy. About a 90% chance.
Well, that's as good a chance as you're almost going to get. I mean, 90% is pretty close to 100.
That's pretty good chance, yes.
90% chance. Also, oddly enough, Ken?
Yes, sir.
The same percentage chance that Oklahoma has in beating Texas this weekend.
Stop. Stop it. I'm getting hypnotized this week. I'm not going to like football anymore.
Weaver, I love talking football with you because you remind me of old Larry Munson, the Georgia Bulldogs announcer. He's the most pessimistic guy on the face of the earth, and you're the same. You're cut from the same jib.
Son of a biscuit.
You can't. All this success, I don't like it. We're 5-0.
We haven't played anybody. We haven't played anybody.
Ken,
and who we have played, we barely beat.
Y'all played Auburn. Shh. Shush with that.
He reiterates they have not played anybody.
Oh, we're playing that team this weekend. Y'all think we're going to beat Auburn?
Yes.
Okay. I do too. I might be there.
You might go?
I might go.
Where is it?
Against Auburn.
It's in Jordan here.
Jordan here?
Yeah, Jordan. That's how you pronounce it.
Jordan Hare.
It's Jordan. Don't give me that look. I lived in Alabama for 20 years.
It is Jordan Hare.
I mispronounce. Oh, good Lord. I mispronounce a lot on this show, Jackson. A lot. Mr. Jackson Williams, son, sir. But I'm not mispronouncing that. It is, I know it's spelled Jordan, but it's pronounced Jordan. Jordan. And it's Auburn. What's funny to me is when some of these national boys come down and do a game and they want to call, what do? They want to call it Auburn. I don't know. They do it wrong. Can we just play the music and just do nincompoops? Auburn.
Nincompoops in the news.
Hey, it's time for nincompoops in the news. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Y'all know what we do. We find stories that are off the beaten path. You know what the news is. You've listened to Ken Weaver deliver it all day. We have opined on said same. It is now to get off track and find stories that are of interest to you, are of interest to us. We compete. We throw a story out there, and you get to vote on the biggest nincompoop of the day. Will it be Jackson Williams? Always. Will it be Ken Weaver? Maybe. Will it be Matt Murphy? Probably not. Who, by the way, can we establish that I get a pass?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean a pass?
We've decided that if you're a part of nincompoops on a daily basis, you get a pass when you're out if you repeat a story, right? Because I don't know what you guys did.
Okay.
And I'm worried that I'm going to repeat a story because this was pretty good, and I can't believe that y'all haven't found this over the last several days.
Yeah,
we had to disqualify Cameron one day.
Yeah.
Because he had a repeat story.
He had what I won with on Tuesday.
Story, yeah.
The Peacocks.
Well, I mean, when it comes that quickly, I mean, you kind of have to do so. Well, I'll just cross my fingers and I'll take a disqualification if that's the way we want to do it. I mean, I'll defer to you fellas.
All right, disqualified. Ken, you're up.
Well, that's not very nice. You don't even know if my story is a repeat or not. Who's first is the question.
I'm going to just assume Ken because I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Okay, y'all want me to go first? Sure,
go
I will.
ahead, Brother Murphy. You do it.
DeLand, Florida. All right,
Son of a biscuit eater. I knew I should have gone first.
A firefighter?
Yes. Sorry. You take it, Brother Murphy. I'm going to be looking for another one.
A firefighter was accused of stalking after allegedly dumping 75, and I'm just quoting the story, okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had the same
dilemma
reservations.
Yeah, I mean, I have a dilemma on this one. Well, let's just say a firefighter was accused of stalking in DeLand, Florida, after allegedly dumping 75 tampons on her ex-boyfriend's lawn when she learned that he was dating a new woman.
Goodness.
And let's just say it this way, that it's not entirely clear whether these were still in the box. Does that make sense?
In one way or another?
Yes, it does.
Does that make I mean,
yes.
I look to Jackson because if someone's not going to get it, it will be Jackson. The Volusia County Sheriff's Office was contacted by a woman on September 30th after she and her boyfriend woke up to find a pile of tampons on their front lawn.
Goodness.
That were stained as if not fresh out of the box. According to the probable cause arrest affidavit obtained by Law and Crime, police reviewed security camera recordings that showed a pickup truck driving past the house at around 10 p.m. September 29. Per the affidavit, the woman allegedly sat in the truck bed until traffic cleared, at which point she dumped out and threw 75 tampons onto the front yard. When the couple was asked who they believed was behind the crime, they reportedly pointed the finger at Gabrielle Franz, a firefighter with Orange County Fire and Rescue, and the ex-girlfriend of the man living in the home. They said it was likely her, quote, demonstrating how unhappy she was that her ex-boyfriend was dating someone new. They claim she previously made multiple social media posts, quote, talking badly about them and the fact that they're now together. When police confronted Franz at her home, she initially said that she did not know where her ex lived, but eventually admitted to committing the act, saying, quote, it wasn't my idea, end quote.
That's what
I love how they think.
It wasn't my idea.
Yeah, I was outside naked, but I wasn't peeing.
I mean, did it, but it wasn't my idea.
Instead, placing the blame. Oh, no, this is better. Placed the blame on her mother and her aunt, who came from out of town and made the plan for her. She said that while the pair were in town, all three of them purchased tampons and then painted them to look in the manner that they looked. Not fresh out of the box. When the trio drove to the ex-boyfriend's house and dumped the tampons per the report, police arrested Franz and charged her with 2 counts of misdemeanor stalking, saying the incident was done with the, quote, sole purpose to harass. So there you go. Nincompoop.
Nincompoop.
That woman's a nincompoop.
She is a it wasn't my idea.
It wasn't my idea.
It was my mom.
And my mama did it.
Just
Arrest
throw
her.
mama under the bus.
Yeah, and yeah, yes, 3840. I said to take your rubbers. You heard me correctly. Those, you know what rubbers are, Jackson?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking. You looked at me funny. You want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next.
All right.
Naked man high on cocaine causes over $25,000 in damages at hotel.
Hey, no. I told you not to tell this part about my trip.
A man in Uranus. No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't in Uranus. It was in Cape Girardeau, which I'm pronouncing incorrectly.
In Bettendorf, Iowa, a man has been charged after police say he ran naked up and down a hotel hallway while high on cocaine and caused more than $25,000 in damages.
Well, who hasn't?
Matt Murphy, 52, who got high on cocaine.
I was not 52 in this house. No, keep going.
Okay, Gary Stanley, 46, got high on cocaine and stripped naked before running around the second floor of the Courtyard by Marriott in Bettendorf, Iowa, according to a police and arrest affidavit. Police said Stanley set off the fire alarm, forcing an evacuation, sprayed 2 fire extinguishers throughout the floor, which caused an estimated $25,000 in damages. An officer was injured while trying to place Stanley under arrest. Police said they later put Stanley in full-body restraints because he was kicking the back windows of the squad car. A small plastic baggie of cocaine was found in Stanley's sock. Stanley is charged with criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, and interference with official acts causing injury. He is in the Scott County Jail on a $15,000 cash bond. Good to see you made bail, bud.
Thank you. Don't turn off my mic.
I meant to turn off mine.
Yeah.
So Brother Jackson's digging up naked people in Nebraska and now in Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Midwestern. They don't have good football, so
there's not a lot going on over there.
Well,
the Hawkeyes are bad. The Huskers are overrated, so they're just getting naked.
Well, they're doing it before the winter sets in.
Trust me, if I lived in southern Illinois with all of that damn corn, I'd be running through the cornfields naked on the regular. And I know that stuff can chafe, but I'd still do it anyway. I don't care.
But
Ken
you wouldn't
Weaver?
be peeing, right?
I know, but I'm not paying. Ken Weaver, did you find one?
I did, man, and I can't believe I've missed it.
All right, let's go.
Doctor who walked around naked in front of women at his family practice gets license revoked.
Oh, no.
Happened in Little Rock. The Arkansas State Medical Board voted to revoke the license of Dr. David Deffen in a disciplinary hearing on Friday. The decision came after the board received videos of the Blytheville doctor walking around naked in the reception area of his medical office. The video also reportedly showed him performing an act on an employee. After hearing from Deffen and a few of his former employees and colleagues, the board voted unanimously to revoke his license for 5 years. The board said its decision was based on the preponderance of evidence that he violated the Medical Practices Act. The Arkansas State Medical Board suspended Deffen's medical license following an investigation of videos sent to the board in July. According to the suspension order, the board received a complaint that Deffen engaged in sexual contact with his staff, who were also his patients. What? And sexually harassed these same individuals.
Yikes. I mean, that's yikes. What? Wait, I'm confused.
You say you,
So his staff, what about his staff?
You say you're feeling a bit peaked? Yeah, his staff was also his patients.
I'm sorry. I misheard you. I thought you said he asked, do you want to see my staff?
Video obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request showed Deffen walking around naked at Deffen Family Practice in Blytheville, including the hallway between patients' rooms.
Family practice.
What in the world is going on in this doctor's office?
Well, I mean, you know.
Another video showed Deffen walking around the receptionist's office naked in front of 3 women, then performing an act directly on one of the women.
What?
According to the documents, the woman not only worked in Deffen's office as a lab tech for another company, but was also one of his patients.
My goodness gracious.
Blytheville, Arkansas.
That's weird.
How about that?
That's pretty weird. He was hot and he was hungry. That's all I can tell you.
And he was naked in his own practice.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's his,
practicing on his own staff.
I mean,
You got a scratchy throat?
Well, I mean,
you need some.
If you're gonna practice,
you need some expectorant.
Gargle, just gargle and spit.
There's my stethoscope.
You don't want to see this tongue compressor.
If you're going to practice, best do it on your own staff, not someone else's.
Say you got a tummy ache? Step in here.
No. You don't need that robe. You'll be fine.
In fact, we don't even need to go in my office.
Just right here in the hall. That's how we play Nincompoops in the News on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And you may vote for Ken, although I don't know what to do with this. Sandra writes, ew, Ken. Is that a vote for Ken or not? I don't know. We'll find out who the big winner is at 51 after the hour. That's Nincompoops in the News, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you want to go to a medical practice where nobody disrobes, I would encourage you to go to Grace Point Healthcare. As a matter of fact, when you call Grace Point, tell them that Matt Murphy sent you and that Matt Murphy guarantees it. I also guarantee this. You're going to get a full examination. They're going to do what is necessary to get to the root issue of what you're dealing with, and they're not just going to grab onto any symptom that comes your way and try to address that. They believe that getting to the root cause is the best practice, and they do so in a direct pay format so that they can do just that insurance companies don't get in the way of how they operate their business. Plus, they want you to know exactly what the practice is costing you when you stop in. 599-6868. Don't forget the incredible direct pay format means that you can enroll in the Smart Care plan, which will provide you with excellent coverage at a low price point for you and your family. Ask them about the Smart Care plan when you make the call that so many others have made to Grace Point Healthcare. 599-6868. That's 599-6868. Grace Point Healthcare. We say it's modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
Illinois sued, but a federal judge has declined to block the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago. And wait till you hear what he wants to do about that judge blocking his plans in Portland, Oregon. That's coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yes, thank you, Ken Weaver. We got calls. We've got much more to do. We got another hour to do it in on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm seeing a lot of votes for Matt Murphy. You check behind me there, Jackson Williams, but I'm seeing a lot of Murphy votes. And Nolene writes in and says, the Grace Point healthcare commercial coming right out of Ken Weaver's nincompoop was hysterical. I vote Ken for the win.
It's Ken.
They don't get naked over there at Grace Point. I can tell you that.
No, sir.
They don't. Put your drawers on. No, Ken's getting some votes, sure.
I got Ken for the win.
I mean, I see one or two.
I see the majority of votes are for Ken Weaver.
Brother pessimist for the win. I'm going to say that that's a Ken Weaver vote. I love it. I love everything about it. Hey, y'all want to have some fun? Listen to this real quick. Y'all listen to this. Hey, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Oklahoma's good.
Stop.
Bonnie is next up. Hey, Bonnie. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, Bonnie. You doing all right?
Hey, you caught me off guard.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, Bonnie. I apologize.
Well, I hope my fan club is listening.
Well, Bonnie, everybody loves you.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm simple.
You're simple? You're not simple. You're complex.
I know. I'm simple. I'm single, too.
You're like an enigma and an onion. Hey, Jackson, Bonnie's single. I'm just...
Yes, sir, Brother Jackson.
Just saying that.
Brother Jackson's got a brand new haircut, too.
But I'm not as young as I sound, so that's the problem.
Well, Jackson is. What's on your mind, Bonnie?
Well, I just wanted to, I don't listen to the radio every day, and I just heard some bad news of something to do with Chris Hand on Friday. That somebody, a bad caller, called in.
Yeah, there was a moron that called in that sounded like, it was kind of a. I don't want to make more of it than it is, but it came off as he was kind of speaking in a threatening manner to Chris, telling him that he was going to be a moron. I mean, it was disgusting. I don't want to give too much light or attention to it, but it is what it is. And this guy. We can't take these things lightly nowadays, considering the world that we live in, Bonnie.
Right. Well, I just wanted to call, and I just think people need to calm down because there's too many people want control, and they can be old and they can be young. That doesn't matter, but just everybody just seems like they want control of stuff, and we can't always have it the way we want it.
Well, let me speak directly to this in just a second, Bonnie. I'm also going to speak to Gino Bolso, and I got to do that in a moment. I don't mean to cut you off or cut you short, but there has been some news about the planned Hot Springs event, and we need to tell you about that as well, because sadly we have had to cancel that event due to some recent circumstances. So we'll get to Gino Bolso in just a moment. He's running for the 7th Congressional District. We're winding these things down as the entire primary race is winding up tomorrow. We'll do that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Illinois sued, but a federal judge has declined to block the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago to help fight crime. President Trump insisting protesters are going after federal agents there and in Portland, Oregon.
I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's really criminal insurrection.
Governor J.B. Pritzker accusing the Trump administration of intentionally inciting chaos so that the president could make an excuse to send the Guard in. But as you heard, as far as Oregon goes, President Trump suggesting he might invoke the Insurrection Act to get around that judge's order. In Memphis, the newly launched Memphis Safe Task Force has arrested 321 people in just its first week of operation. That includes 82 immigration-related arrests made by ICE, according to the Department of Justice. Authorities say the crackdown targeted violent criminals, gang members, even led to the recovery of 7 missing children. Among those arrested were 28 gang members, 4 juveniles, suspects wanted for rape, murder, and other sex offenses. Agents also seized 83 firearms. They made arrests for drug charges, probation violations, and outstanding warrants. And the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, repeating today the warning about layoffs as long as that government shutdown continues.
The Office of Management and Budget is continuing to work with agencies on who, unfortunately, is going to have to be laid off if this shutdown continues.
And it looks like the Senate has again failed to pass Democratic and Republican funding bills, so the shutdown continues. Former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez has been charged with felony battery after a violent parking dispute in Indianapolis. Prosecutors say Sanchez attacked a 69-year-old truck driver who stabbed him in self-defense. Sanchez was in town for a broadcast but didn't appear on air. He's out on bond, and he's due in court tomorrow. And in Nashville, a recall petition has been filed against Metro Council member Roland Horton. People not happy following his push to rezone parts of the nation's neighborhood for high-density housing. The petition submitted last week. Now they have 30 days to gather enough signatures to trigger a special election. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Woodbine, a crash, 24 eastbound near I-440. In Antioch, Bell Road at Collins Park. And then Central Pike near Old Hickory Boulevard in Hermitage. I'm Ken Weaver.
I need to correct something because I hate leaving something out there that I said incorrectly. I incorrectly said that the House Freedom Action Committee supported Lee Reeves, and I meant that much of their ads were not in support of Lee Reeves, and I apologize for that. If I incorrectly stated that, I mean, I know it's kind of water under the bridge now that Lee has suspended his campaign and thrown his support behind Matt Van Epps, but I just try to correct the record. And I did not want to leave that dangling out there. That said, 7 minutes after 6 o'clock, we are in the final hours before voting begins in earnest. Obviously, we have early voting here in the state of Tennessee, so that voting has been ongoing. But multiple candidates are making their final appeal to the voters of the 7th Congressional District as to why they are the best in the selection process. And one of those is Representative Gino Bolsa, who joins us on the Murphy Show hotline right now to talk about his candidacy and the final hours of the primary campaign. Gino, always good to catch up with you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. Matt, I hope you are as well this evening.
I'm doing great. Obviously, we're at the home stretch of the primary campaign at very least, and I know that you hope that there's another stage to all of this with the general election coming in December. Talk to us about the reception that you've been getting and what you're hearing on the trail in the final hours.
Well, we've been just amazed at the reception that we've been getting across all 14 counties in District 7 to our message of constitutional conservatism, and it really has resonated, especially, Matt, with informed voters, because so many people are just hungry for the type of government that our founders intended. And the fact that we are doing well in this race, I think, is evidenced by the fact that over the last 48 hours, your listeners in District 7 who have not yet voted have been treated just to a series of outlandish texts attacking our campaign, because I think the others who are contending for the congressional seat in District 7 understand that we are right there at the very top, and it looks very good that we'll be able to pull this off tomorrow night.
Yeah, normally I would just kind of sit back and, a lot of my experience in these types of races have come in Alabama, where they have runoffs in the primaries, where if the top two vote getters, if they do not get 50% plus one, will go up against one another. That's not the case here. And so it makes it very difficult to gauge where we are. But every time I talk to people about this, you are one of the top three candidates in the race. There's no doubt that you are one of the front runners. So what is your final message to those considering going out tomorrow? Because I truly believe, Gino, that this could be a race decided by not several thousand, but several hundred votes. And ultimately, it is a matter of getting folks to the polls, getting your passionate supporters out in support of you above and beyond the other, 9 or so candidates.
Yeah, and that's why we feel so good about it, Matt, because there are two things that voters have noticed, and we've heard this from voters, is that, number one, ours is the only campaign that has been 100% positive. We have not, through our campaign or through any surrogates, made any negative attacks against any of the other leading candidates or against any of the other 10 candidates in the race. And second, we are the only leading campaign that has not accepted a dime of corporate or PAC money into our coffers, nor have we been the beneficiaries of millions of dollars in out-of-state PAC money, which has been flowing into the campaigns of the other two primary competitors. And I think voters really appreciate the fact that we have run a good, clean campaign all the way through, and we've done it with private donations. Obviously, there's been quite a bit of discussion recently about President Trump's endorsement of Matt Van Epps, which strangely comes after 70% of the votes are in. It came after all of early voting was completed. And that's something that voters are trying to figure out. How do we process this very late endorsement by the president? And I've got a couple of thoughts in closing that I'd like to make about that, Matt. First, an endorsement is a place to start. It's not a place to end. Certainly, any candidate in this race would love to have had the president's endorsement, but I don't think that your listeners are going to go out and punch a button for Matt Van Epps just because President Trump has endorsed him. They're smart and intelligent enough to know that they still have to do their own research. And I know you, Matt, are a student of American history, and in a letter to Charles Yancey in 1816, Thomas Jefferson said that if a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and what never will be. We need folks to actually look at these candidates, look at their record. And you look at these endorsements. I mean, Matt Van Epps has also been endorsed by Governor Bill Lee, who, as you know, was the chief proponent of red flag laws across Tennessee just back in August of 2023. And so far as I know, Matt's not done anything to distance himself from the governor's anti-Second Amendment stance with regard to red flag laws. Matt's also been endorsed by former Governor Haslam, who was famous for having advocated giving in-state tuition to illegal aliens and other taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens. Yet I've not heard, Matt distance himself from those positions, which are directly contrary to what we have done in the General Assembly to eliminate taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens. So my message is, don't stop with an endorsement. Go out there, do your homework, look at the records of these candidates, and certainly, Matt, when your voters look at my record in the General Assembly, they will see one that they're going to love. It's conservative right down the line, 100% pro-life, 100% Second Amendment, 100% limited government, 100% keeping biological boys who identify as girls out of girls' athletics, 100% keeping inappropriate materials and pornography out of our schools. And so I think we are in a really good position, and we're excited to get to tomorrow, get across the finish line, and look forward to the general election on December the 2nd.
Gino Bolso, our guest in the final hours of the 7th Congressional District primary campaign that will culminate tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. Where do you plan on watching some of the results come in, Gina?
We're going to be here at my law office in Brentwood. We've got all the facilities here to accommodate a good crowd and to be able to watch the returns coming in from the 14 counties. So we'll be here, home where we always are and where we've had so much success over the last few election cycles.
Just speaking on a couple of the matters that are in the news right now and the few moments that we have, I'm curious. I mean, I imagine that you're supportive of the Democrats holding the line in both the House and the Senate, obviously the Senate being the primary holdup right now. The House has already passed a CR. You don't want to see these CRs. I don't like the idea that we're having to kind of push the ball down the road beyond what ought to be the time that we do budgets. But at the same time, it's a small leap to get to the regular appropriation bills that we would like to see happen. However, I do appreciate that the Republicans are holding the line and not allowing the Democrats to take them hostage. I expect that you agree with that.
I agree 100%, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to use, I think President Trump will, to reduce the size of government. Because as you know, and as we've talked in studio about before, Matt, I'm in this race because I want to get back to limited government. I want to get back to balanced budgets. I want to start paying down that $37.2 trillion debt, because out of control spending in Washington is just sacrificing the financial security of our children and grandchildren. And so absolutely, we can use this democratically orchestrated shutdown to reduce government, reduce spending, and get closer to regular order, which is going to require those 12 appropriations bills that has been the case since back in the 1970s.
And then the other big matter that's happening today, the president is using his authority to bring out immigration and customs enforcement in places like Chicago. Now, even the possibility of the National Guard getting to Chicago, Illinois. Inexplicably, I'm just fascinated trying to figure out how Democrats think, or in this case, don't, because they are obviously putting the interest of people who should not be in this country to begin with ahead of the citizens of their communities. And Donald Trump's doing everything in his legal power to try to work to get some relief to those people. And I mentioned that to you specifically, Gino, because as a lawyer, you understand that the Constitution only allows him so much. How much do you feel like the president can do? And would you support the invocation of the Insurrection Act in this case?
Absolutely. And you're right on the spot as usual, Matt, about looking at this from a constitutional perspective, because the Insurrection Act of 1807 came about because Thomas Jefferson wanted to use federal troops to quell domestic insurrection. But looking at Article 2 of the Constitution, he concluded he couldn't do it. So he went to Congress and asked them to pass the Insurrection Act of 1807 so that he would, as the chief executive of the country, have the authority to quell insurrections if the constitutional rights of citizens were being violated or threatened, which is certainly the case in Memphis, Chicago, Washington, D.C., other places where folks have to live in fear because of all the violence, particularly gang violence, that's going on. So President Trump is 100% within the bounds of the Insurrection Act of 1807, which Congress properly passed pursuant to their powers under Article 1. And it's just so overwhelmingly favorable to have someone with the leadership skills of President Trump in the White House willing to use these tools that are available to the chief executive to provide for the common defense and to promote the general welfare, which is why our country was founded in the first place.
Gino Bolso is with us. What is your final message, Gino, to the voters who, I mean, I've had several people call me tonight and speak to me on the super text line, and they've said that they have yet to come to a final decision. It's surprising to me as someone who does this on a day-to-day basis that someone would not have in their minds the candidate that they're going to vote for. But some say that they remain undecided, Gino, at this late hour. What's your message to those folks?
My message to those folks, Matt, is to ask yourself two questions before voting for a candidate. One, why is this candidate running? Do you really have an understanding as to what this person intends to do if elected and seated in the U.S. House of Representatives? With me, there's no doubt about that. I'm going there to reduce out-of-control federal spending, which is driving inflation, which is driving up the cost of living, and which is creating vast anxiety and uncertainty about our financial security. The second question, once you know what the person is, what the reason the person is running, ask yourself, does the person have a demonstrated record of being effective and being able to affect change? Once again, with our campaign, the record is clear. I have been one of the most prolific legislators in the Tennessee General Assembly over the last 4 years on all these core issues regarding pro-life issues, the Baby Olivia Act, pro-Second Amendment issues, obviously the Laken Riley Act, and as well as keeping boys out of girls' athletics. So I think the voters need to ask themselves those two questions, Matt. Why is this person running? Do I really understand why this person is running? And then second, does the person have a demonstrated ability to affect change? And I'm happy to say that one reason we are gaining so much support is that voters can answer both those questions in the affirmative with our campaign and probably not so much with the other leading candidates. That's my final message.
Gino, great stuff. You know how much we appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your thoughts about matters that affect the United States of America, the state of Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee more specifically. And we look forward to many, many conversations down the road. Take care. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. We'll see you soon. There's Gino Bolso joining us for a good 15 or so minutes. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Your thoughts coming up in just a moment. Plus, did you hear about the skydiving accident? Man, oh man. I have, what's the proper way of saying it? Skydived. I have in my past jumped out of a perfectly operational airplane. I'll give you my thoughts in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. J.K. and Erica Brister. Let me talk to you about these folks for just a moment. They're good people. They love their United States of America, and I love J.K. and Erica Brister for it. I love the fact that they run such a tight ship and such a great company. As a matter of fact, if you have ever worked in the pest industry, or even if you've not, they're always looking for good folks because they are growing every single day at U.S. Pest. Why? Because more and more people like you need pest protection. Everyone's threatened in Middle Tennessee with these invasive pests, spiders, ants, roaches, silverfish, and, of course, termites, ticks, fire ants. They're all over. You are threatened, and you need protection. And that protection should come in the form of the best, U.S. Pest. USPest.com. That's USPest.com for more info. Or give them a call and schedule an appointment today. No obligation to you. An absolutely free inspection. They'll look over and find what the other guys may have missed in your home with U.S. Pest. Call 590-1260. That's local, 590-1260, or online at uspest.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jay Harper was multitasking while doing the traffic. You hear that?
What was he doing?
It sounded like he was doing some accounting. There was an adding machine in the background.
An abacus?
Maybe so. It felt like he was.
Maybe he's writing his memoir, and it was an old school typewriter.
That kind of thing. It's hurting my fingers. Maybe so. Don't know. 615-737-9986. Final thoughts. Tomorrow, too late. Final thoughts on how you're going in this 7th Congressional District race. Several on the super text line. I'm sorry, not on the super text line. On the YouTube television chat, which is a wild place, have expressed that they don't care for all of these late endorsements. I kind of get that. It's interesting. I feel like the Trump endorsement was almost too late. I mean, even not almost too late. Too late. In as much as you have to endorse. Gino Bolso is exactly right. An endorsement should help inform you about a candidate. It should not be a final say as to how you're going to vote, even with somebody like Donald Trump. So I feel as if a Governor Bill Lee, which, Bill Lee is hit or miss with our audience, frankly. I mean, Bill Lee is wildly popular across the state of Tennessee. I would say he's less so popular with our P1s, if you will. P1s being the day-to-day listening audience, or some of you who are with us on a regular basis every day from 3 until 7 o'clock. So I think the split is a little more 50-50 with our audience on Bill Lee. So I don't know what the Bill Lee endorsement does anyway. The Mark Green endorsement comes with a little... Mark Green is not going to be able to get in front of any endorsement in as much as why he left office, okay? And I'm not getting into that necessarily, but to say that Mark Green served his country in the military, Mark Green served as a doctor, Mark Green served as a congressperson, and I suppose it is up to Mark Green to decide when he wants to leave public service and go into the private sector. And he made the decision for a number of reasons that preclude him from being out front, even if he wanted to be out front with regard to who he believes would be the best successor. Let's just say it that way. But if Trump wanted to make an impact, you have to do that before people make up their minds. It has been my experience that once people make up their minds, there has to be something fairly dramatic to move them off of that decision. Now, the Lee Reeves decision to leave the race could be that factor. And this is what I mean. Lee Reeves is out of the race. How many people were planning, and I don't know how many there are, but how many people were planning to go to the polls tomorrow and vote for Lee Reeves? Well, you're not voting for Lee Reeves tomorrow now, are you? Unless you've got your head in the hole. A hole. Lee Reeves is now out of the race and has formally endorsed Van Epps. Will that carry weight for people who were planning to vote for Lee Reeves? I don't know. I think the biggest factor in this race, let me give you my quick assessment on it. And for those of you on the YouTube chat, yes, that's correct. They're asking a question about the Mark Green thing. You can go over and give us the old thumbs up, like, and subscribe. You can see what I'm talking about. My gut tells me this. The biggest factor in this race will be the amount of name recognition and name ID that Jody Barrett has gotten because of all of the attack ads against him. If third-party money does not come into this race and go after Barrett in the way that it did, then Barrett's just another in a sea of candidates, and you kind of have to figure it out on your own. A lot of people became aware of Jody Barrett And once again, I like Jody. I like Matt Van Epps. There are reasons to dislike Jody if you want to find them. There are reasons to dislike Van Epps if you want to find them. There are reasons to dislike Gino Bolsa if you want to find them. There are reasons to dislike Lee Reeves if you want to find them when he was in the race. All of these folks have a certain level of baggage that you can locate. But I do believe, you could criticize Jody on the school choice issue if you were on the opposite side of that issue, and most Tennesseans are. You could even get some traction out of the liberal douchebag commentary if you so desired. But they overplayed their hand on that. The powers that be overplayed their hand on it. But because so many pointed their fire toward him, because he was a target for so many, I think it drew attention to him. And for some, it will sour the milk. And for some, it will make them aware of what he stands for. So if Jody Barrett wins this election tomorrow, I think it will be because of the number of negative ads run against him. But I don't know that that's the case either. I think I would, if I had to prognosticate, honestly, I can't. I cannot do it because of the amount of turnout. And, like Gino has said, like all of them have said, it's all about getting your base of support out to the polls on Election Day to get you in front of the other candidates. But that's just my quick one-off assessment as to what is going on. But Trump coming in late almost smacks of D.C. establishment people being desperate that Matt Van Epps has not run away with this thing, and they're trying to slam the door on the possibility of a Barrett or a Bolso or a Foley or a Parks or whoever coming in, swooping in, and snagging the primary. Trump this late almost feels desperate. If Trump wanted to make a difference in the race, I think Trump comes in a month ago, and then you can make a difference. It is just after 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Dr. Mitch, Dr. Ashley, and the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I call him Dr. Mitch because I made the switch, and that rhymes, right? I did make the switch to Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley and the rest of the crew at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Why? Because they're great at what they do. They are passionate at helping get you pain-free in a natural way. They're state-of-the-art non-surgical now. Spinal decompression, knee decompression, elongates the disc, helps take pressure off the nerve. They also have anti-gravity machines. They have robot lasers, and other high-tech stuff that all can help you with eliminating pain without the need for painkillers, spinal injections, or the need for surgery. And that's what it's all about. The Big Daddy Trump special continues. The Big Daddy Trump special, $12 for a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, and a diagnosis, as well as a first treatment. 615-246-5009 is the number, 246-5009, or online at painisbad.com, because pain is bad. Painisbad.com for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sorry, I was self-aggrandizing on the YouTube chat. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. First time in a while we've not had anyone on the phone lines, and you're invited, if you so desire, to get in on the last segment of the show. We've been primarily covering the 7th Congressional District race. Obviously, the shutdown is ongoing. It is a Democrat shutdown 100%. Democrats think they have some sort of leverage. They do not have leverage here. And the Republicans, for once, are holding the line and not taking the blame in the general public. Holding the line and not taking the blame. And that's what it's all about. So we have been talking about that. Let me see. I've not brought up this attorney general candidate in Virginia. There are things that are more important closer to home. But this dude, Jay Jones, it epitomizes the Democrat culture of violence. It epitomizes the fact that Democrats don't care about the culture of violence. And as I've said repeatedly to you, their interest in power and control outweighs everything else, to include the rule of law, to include any disruption in law and order. They don't care. They don't care about border security if it will get them votes. They don't care about your security if it will get them votes. They don't care about your personal safety and health if it will get them votes. They don't care about the sanctity of life if it will get them votes. They care about votes, power, and control. Now, to a certain degree, all of politics is about power and control. Sure. But the Democrats are willing to allow political rhetoric to turn into political violence, and they're not going to say anything about it. And their cohorts in the mainstream media, the MSNBCs of the world, the hashtag Never CNNs, remember, we call them hashtag Never CNN because they are a garbage network full of garbage people spewing garbage. Never watch them. Hashtag Never CNN. Do not watch them and do not support those that do. I'll watch so you don't have to. It's an occupational hazard on the Matt Murphy Show. I'm watching them right now, as a matter of fact, on Monitor 2. And it's gross, the excuse making that goes on over there. Jay Jones, who is an AG candidate, actively, privately, and I think it's worse, he privately advocated for violence against his political rivals and said that it was worth it because it might change their opinions on some of these things. And this was not like 10, 15 years ago. This was like last year and the year before. We used to, when Donald Trump first came into office, and I had a co-host on the morning show that I hosted in Birmingham on Talk 99.5, Andrea Lindenberg, and she and I used to laugh our butts off and go back and forth about denounce. Do you denounce? You must denounce. You must fully denounce. Anytime Donald Trump said something on the political campaign trail or anytime a Republican did something wrong, the mainstream media is out there with their microphones demanding that every Republican that they could find denounce it. Do you denounce what he said? Do you denounce what they did? Do you denounce? Do you denounce? Do you strongly denounce? They never do this garbage with Democrats. Why aren't they demanding that Democrats denounce this guy and pull him out of the race? Well, because they're in bed with them is the primary reason. All right, in the meantime, before we go, I've not, this is just crazy. One, crazy that we've not had an opportunity to speak on it. And two, crazy that it occurred. So according to authorities, a skydiving instructor died Saturday when he fell from the sky without a parachute. He's now been identified as Justin Robert Fuller, 35, of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. According to a press release, Fuller and his 46-year-old student became stuck on the side of a plane in a tandem rig and then became separated. According to News Channel 5, the skydiving incident this weekend claimed life and caused a second person to be rescued. According to the Metro Nashville Police Department, Saturday, their helicopter crew found a 35-year-old skydiving instructor dead in the clearing of a wooded area on Ashland City Highway. Officers believe the instructor became separated from the skydiver, jumping tandem with them, and fell without a parachute. I don't know how the hell... I don't know how this would have happened. I've jumped out of two planes. Obviously, I had an instructor both times. This was not something that I had on a bucket list anywhere, but I'm happy that I did it. And I would encourage any of you listening, and I mean this sincerely, unless you are actively afraid of heights, unless you are like actively saying no, if you're non-committal on skydiving, skydive. If you have any interest in skydiving, skydive. Is it risk-free? Of course not. Neither is getting in your car and driving home tonight. Everything has a certain level of risk associated to it. But skydiving, relatively speaking, is incredibly safe. People do it every day. Just understand this. Every time there's a skydiving accident, it's national news. Every time. You can't say the same thing about small plane crashes because they happen so regularly. Does that make sense? But what I don't understand is when I went on the tandem jump, the instructor is behind you. And the instructor has the parachute on their back. So I don't understand how this happened. Now, what I don't understand about skydiving would fill volumes of material. So, Jackson, I'm going to try to explain it to you just to make sure that I'm explaining it to the audience correctly. So when you do a tandem jump, your instructor is behind you, and you are strapped to your instructor, and your harness is harnessed with their harness, and they have the parachute. So at least the way that we did it, I never had a parachute on. I was hooked on to the 2 shoulders and 2 hips. They hook you to the instructor, and they cinch you tight. And you are tight, their chest to your back. And then you go out in tandem, and you get on the side of the plane, and then you go out of the plane, and then you skydive. And as you're going down, if you're watching on Talk TV, hello. Good to see you over there on top. As you're going down, they're like this, and you're like this, and they're like this. And then when you get under canopy, you pop up like that. And then they release a couple of the straps, and that gives you a little more. You're so tight against the instructor that it is, in those few minutes before you jump out of the plane, uncomfortable. So what I don't understand is how the instructor became separated. And even if I am to understand how the instructor became separated, the instructor has the parachute. So how did the instructor end up being the one that died? This doesn't make a lot of sense. I heard the instructor panicked and cut himself loose. Well, 7,600, you might be correct, but once again, I could be ignorant of the different ways to do this. The way that we did it at Skydive Alabama, in Coleman, Alabama, was that the instructor had the chute, and you, as the novice, were just attached to them. Maybe there's a different way of doing it where the student has the chute too. If the instructor panicked and cut himself loose, how did the student still have a parachute?
Backup chute?
I don't recall having a backup chute. I don't recall having anything.
When did you skydive?
2014, 2015.
That's enough to say there's probably been some safety regulations. Maybe they require a backup chute.
The instructor has a backup chute.
Maybe they wanted one on the person, too.
I don't know. The word among the skydivers is the instructor cut the harness in order to save the other skydiver's life. He knew that they were not going to be able to make it down because of the weight. Well, I know that there are weight restrictions. Matter of fact, hey, this will humble you, right? So our weight restriction was 220 pounds. You could not be over 220 pounds in order to skydive. At the time, I was like 205. And so they told everyone, you can't be over 220 pounds to skydive. And as they were getting us ready to get on the plane, they said, all right, anyone that weighs over 200 pounds, please come to see Joel. And you go up there, hey, you weigh over 200 pounds? Yeah, I weigh 205. There's the scale. Get on it. They were serious about it because they didn't want anybody fudging. They didn't want anybody saying, oh, I weigh 210 and you really weigh 230. Because if you were over 220, you didn't get to skydive. That was just the way that they did it at this particular place. But let me say this. All of that to say, I looked at the percentages. I face these things head on when I'm doing something that seems a little bit dangerous. And I looked at the percentages, and I just ate it up. The morning of the skydive, I was looking up on my phone how many people die from skydives every year. And it's minuscule. I mean, it's a minuscule portion of the total number of skydives that have ever happened. But I needed that in my life to remind me that risk in life is not zero. It's never zero. Otherwise, you stay at home in bed all day, and even then, fire could break out in your home and you could die that way. It is if you have any adrenaline desires in your life, it is the most pure adrenaline that I've ever experienced in my life. it is the most incredible 5 minutes. Because you have that adrenaline high and that noise, and just because the wind coming by you, and you do not have the sensation that you're flying at over 100 and I think terminal it's like 110 miles an hour. You do not have the sensation that you're going that fast. It's just when you fall out of the aircraft. I mean, you watch other people go out of the aircraft, and it's like shoop, shoop, shoop. It's like a vacuum cleaner, but you fall out of the aircraft, and it's just like you're floating away from the airplane. You're just changing directions, going 100 miles. The airplane's going 100 miles an hour, and you just change direction, and you're going 100 miles an hour. And then when you get under canopy, it's the most peaceful you've ever experienced. It's the most peace and the closest to the Almighty that I think I've ever been. So we'll try to figure out exactly what happened in that situation. It's just, wow. It's scary, to say the least, especially if you are the student and you end up in a tree somewhere and you have to wait to get cut down for over an hour. 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll wrap things up in a moment. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Alpha and Omega is not new to the computer services industry. As a matter of fact, they've been around serving Middle Tennessee, small, medium, and large-sized businesses with incredible and exceptional IT service since 1998. Cybersecurity has been a part of that every step of the way. Friends, 70% of cyber attacks happen to small and medium-sized businesses. Are you a target? If you're in business, you're a target, because every business in 2025 utilizes IT. You utilize email. You utilize computer services that involve the internet, and that means that a threat exists. I want you to get with the program. I want you to get Alpha and Omega in your life. Michael and his team can help. If you're a business owner, 14 successful ransomware attacks happen every day. Let Alpha and Omega handle all of your IT needs and take care of that for you, and you don't have to worry about that anymore. All you have to worry about is growing your business. 615-784-0096, 615-784-0096, or online at ANO.net. That's A&O.net for our friends at Alpha and Omega. Super Talk 99.7 WTN winding down the last couple of minutes. I do have to, have you already closed out your program over there so that I can do video?
No.
Oh, very good. Well, excellent. I just have to share this real quick. This is, this would have made nincompoops in the news had I seen this before nincompoops in the news. Without comment, here's Mayor Brandon Johnson.
I've also said for the last couple of years that the extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War. They have repeatedly called for a rematch. But in the coming weeks, we will use this opportunity to build greater resistance. Chicagoans are clear. Militarizing our troops in our city as justification to further escalate a war in Chicago will not be tolerated.
What in the actual hell is this person talking about? All right, one. Real quick, Jackson. Just shout him out if you know. Abraham Lincoln, Republican or Democrat?
Republican?
Republican. The first African-American representatives in the halls of Congress, Republicans or Democrat?
Republican.
Republican. So I don't know what he means by extreme right, but, you know. Civil rights era. I won't ask this in the form of a question. I'll just make it in the form of a statement. Who came in to enforce the rule of law as it pertains to equality within our public education system? The federal government, the National Guard, enforced the rule of law as it pertained to the Constitution of the United States of America. This guy, he has no idea what he's talking about. The extreme right in this country refused to accept the results of the Civil War? Come on. Hey, real quick, before we get out of here, did you watch your movie?
I did. Did you watch yours?
Jackson and I have a movie challenge going every Friday, but we did it this past Tuesday because I was out for 3 days. I did. I watched Toy Story 4. Forky was my favorite. Very cute.
You liked Trash. Secret Life of Pets, incredibly entertaining movie.
Okay.
It's the perfect length, hour and a half. R.I.P. Ricky!
R.I.P. Ricky!
We got to go.
Bo Peep was hot. We got to go. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Until then, so long, everybody.